Live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
Okay, it's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. As we say hi, open up a new week. I hope you had a nice weekend. Patrick Meagher live, Los Angeles. The big guy, Dustin Swedelson, at the beautiful SiriusXM studios at the Wynn in Las Vegas, right there on the Strip. John Goulet and crew, thank you for all your help there. Naya, Ryan, thank you as well. You can find us on YouTube. Ryan's running it. Get involved in the chat. YouTube.com/VSiN Live. All right, we've got a lot to do. Let me just start here, and I'll get the big guy in the mix. Lightning Panthers are about to drop the puck in Florida. A great Game 3. So the Panthers do lead the series 2-1. The Lightning fell down 1-0 in Game 3 and then just came back and were awesome the rest of the game. I watched it. And then the Avs and Stars. So this is a fascinating series, tied up at 2s as we head back to Dallas. As far as the NBA is concerned, we've got a lot to do on the NBA today. The Cavs are going to close out the Heat in about 27 minutes, so the Cavs lead that series 3-0, and they will undoubtedly close out the Heat. The Cavs are laying 8.5 on the road. Good series. The Rockets and Warriors. The Warriors do take a 2-1 series lead with a win Game 3. Golden State's laying 3.5. Jimmy Butler will reportedly play in Game 4 despite pelvic contusion. I was shocked he didn't play in Game 3. He hurt his ass, and he sat on it because it made no sense that I was shocked by the fact that he didn't play in Game 3. As we open it up, 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. We should start, big guy, with the big story over the weekend, and that is the fact that Shedeur Sanders and Mel Kiper, who embarrassed himself, and anybody else talking about this, absolutely hijacked the draft. And the reason Shedeur Sanders lasted until the 5th round is because of this conversation. The concept that Cam Ward hasn't been discussed, and he went 1 overall, and Shedeur Sanders, we were on Shedeur watch on Friday. Obviously, he didn't get picked there. Let me just say this, because Dustin and I were talking earlier. So the Cleveland Browns end up selecting Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. Dustin mentioned the look on Andrew Berry, the general manager, and, of course, Kevin Stefanski's face was one like they were waiting for the dentist. They were not thrilled about the draft pick. And that brought up just one thing to me, and that is this was an edict from ownership, a mandate from Jimmy Haslam that you have to draft Shedeur Sanders. Sanders is going to provide ticket sales, jersey sales. I mean, they have an impossibly ridiculous quarterback room. Almost like the Giants at this point. They drafted Dylan Gabriel. They added Kenny Pickett. They've got Joe Flacco. And then they just added Shedeur. That is an ownership decision because it was very clear, and I told you on Friday night, I don't think the kid gets drafted. Once he kept falling and out of the 2nd round, out of the 3rd round, it became very clear that front offices were sending a message, Dustin, and that is we don't want him. And by the way, if everybody's poor Shedeur has issues. Shedeur was showing up to interviews with headphones on listening to music. Rick Neuheisel reported, Shedeur picked up a FaceTime call while being interviewed by a freaking head coach in the league. Who wants to be around that energy? Nobody. What up?
McDonald's wouldn't hire you if you did that at a job interview. You think the NFL is going to do that? I guess I'm remembering a time about 10 days ago where we said there was no juice for this draft. I can tell you this, Shedeur Sanders falling out of Friday and into Saturday, I sat there on my couch waiting for a spot for him to get drafted. So the one thing you'll give credit to this whole situation is it made the later rounds of the NFL draft something that you had to watch, that you were waiting to see. And the reality was there was only a few teams that would have been in the mix for his services. The funny thing is you thought once Dylan Gabriel went to Cleveland, it was like, okay, well, Cleveland got their guy. So now it's the Raiders, or else I don't know who else is going to draft Shedeur Sanders. But the question I keep coming back to on this is if there were no off-field distractions, if it was just the football play, would he have gone higher? Would he have been in the 1st round? Would he have been in the 2nd round?
I think
you believe so?
Yes.
I'm starting to think there's also football questions about Shedeur Sanders, and the fact that it wasn't undeniable that he is a home run quarterback or he's a legit quarterback to the next level. You factor in all the other nonsense. That's why he dropped as far as he did.
Oh no, I don't disagree that he's basic as a quarterback.
Yeah, he's basic.
And that's a reason. Another reason he started to fall. Listen, these front offices, all they care about is winning. They will draft a guy that beats his girlfriend. They will draft people that have done untoward things. They don't care. There's no scruples. Maybe some front offices have some sort of moral code, but not all of them. So yeah, I think you're honest. But I just think the whole Dion. I think the whole apparently Brian Daboll met one-on-one with him and gave him a project. Hey, go figure out. He didn't do it. Daboll got upset that he didn't do it. Shedeur got upset with Daboll that he was upset.
I think he also came in with demands as well, saying, when I show up, we're going to do it X, Y, and Z way. And it's like, no, buddy, it doesn't work that way. This is a professional franchise. We tell you how it works.
Right. So to your question, the on the field stuff also. Well, if Andrew Luck was walking into which he wouldn't, but if Andrew Luck was walking into front offices and saying, I kind of slept on that little project, Andrew Luck is getting drafted number 1 overall.
Yeah. No one can. In fact, Jamarcus Russell did fail to acknowledge that, and he still went number 1 overall. So correct. I guess that proves your point. The Dion factor is obviously the big thing hanging over this, because remember a few months ago, Dion came out and said, I don't want my son to play for a few franchises. And I believe he alluded to the Cleveland Browns at that time. But I also think while Dion did him no favors there, he also did him no favors where he coached him since high school. At no point did Shedeur Sanders ever have to go out and earn a starting job on a team. In fact, when Dion went and took the Colorado job, he showed up day one meeting with the team and said, that guy's taking over at quarterback. We have our quarterback. You all might as well leave. And I think that didn't help the case either when it comes to Shedeur, because he's entitled, because he was handed everything. Now, he can go out there and still be a successful quarterback, but if we're going to look at the backstory of how we got here, I think a lot of this also does fall on Dion, unfortunately.
And here's another thing, and people need to pay attention to this. It's not racist. It's not bigoted to say simply this. They might just be super annoying.
Oh, they are.
The Sanders family, Shedeur. I'm not saying for sure. I'm just saying what we're starting to hear about his actions. He might just be super annoying, and maybe you don't want him around.
Not bad people, just like you don't want to deal with it if you don't have to. I'd rather not have to have a guy in the room who has someone following him with a video camera all day long trying to pop his YouTube stream numbers on my roster, also fighting with other people for a job. Because, by the way, he's going into a quarterback room with Joe Flacco, who knows how many more years that guy has left to play. He doesn't have time for this BS. Kenny Pickett, who believes he has an opportunity to prove he's a starting quarterback in the league, and a guy in Dylan Gabriel, who, as of probably a month ago, did not think he'd get drafted before Shedeur Sanders. And because of all that, it's professionalism. And that is an issue that we have with Shedeur, and the fact that there's so many other things he's focused on.
888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. So we'll get into the basketball. We've got bets coming up as far as the hoops and the hockey. Plenty to do as we open it up. We'll get into what happened over the weekend as well. Some thrilling NBA games, to be honest with you. So we need to discuss. I was here in Los Angeles watching the Lakers with that crazy comeback by Minnesota. I have thoughts there. But just to I don't know if we want to finish it. If you guys want to get involved in the Shedeur conversation, feel free. It's just I thought about it right before I walked into the studio here. I'm like, the concept of him hijacking a draft because he slipped to 5, that's the baggage I think that teams were trying to avoid. Yeah. There's just always going to be something, and the talent doesn't outweigh that. It's about, do you think Dan Campbell, who literally his whole thing is culture, think he's bringing in a guy that's being filmed for YouTube? No. He's like, why do we want that? This is not what we're doing here. Cleveland was told, the general manager, I think we're going to hear from him here.
Yep.
Barry was told by Haslam, you have to draft Shedeur Sanders. We're going to sell a ton of jerseys. And he did. That's it. Like, Shedeur is going to have a popular jersey. He's still a Sanders. He's just, might be annoying.
Yeah.
It literally doesn't make anybody. It's so ridiculous how sensitive people get about, first off, it's stupid to say because somebody's Caucasian or black. That's bigoted to not be able to have an opinion about it.
You can't just not
to say this dude might just be annoying in some way, insinuating that there's racism attached to it. You're the bigot.
Johnny Manziel was annoying. He was a white guy. He was super annoying.
Worst.
He was the worst.
We crushed the Browns when they drafted Johnny Manziel in the first round.
I think we all got caught up in hype of Shedeur Sanders. And I look, not that I'm like a film guru. I don't even understand what I'm watching when I'm watching the NFL half the time. I just know who's winning and who's losing and big plays that happen. But the reality is, if we talk about accomplishments at the collegiate level, he played in a very friendly system. He put up really good numbers, but I have it right here. 28% of his passes were screens. 52% were pass yards after the catch. Other receivers doing the work for him. There's a chance we made a big deal out of the new age Case Keenum. Shedeur Sanders may just be a Case Keenum, an in-betweener. He's not a starter.
Wait, hold on. In the name. So we might do the same thing next year with Arch Manning.
Absolutely. 100%. There's a very good chance we do that. And I think you start looking back at Shedeur Sanders, it's like, what did he actually accomplish in college that we can like project to the NFL? Did he do more at the collegiate level than Dillon Gabriel, who also got drafted by him? I'd say no. Did he do more than Quinn Ewers, who took Texas to the playoffs back-to-back years?
No.
Did he do more than Will Howard, who was like a 3-year starter at Kansas State and won a national title at Ohio State? And by the way, I think Pittsburgh is a really interesting landing spot for him. No,
but the point is he did get his jersey retired after going 13 and 12. And you know what? There's entitlement that comes with that. It's annoying. So I'll pass. I'll draft somebody else. That doesn't make these organizations bad.
Yeah, let's hear.
Before you do, Mel Kiper, it's time, brother. That's a no from me, dog. Like, it is time to hang it up. First off, I don't even know what Mel Kiper's background. He's done a tremendous job for 25, 27 years. But the faux outrage over Sanders slipping was embarrassing.
He took it personal. Like, it was a shot against his credibility. Because he likes Shedeur Sanders, obviously, but...
Yeah, fifth on his board.
But he kept complaining that the NFL gets it wrong all the time. He gets it wrong all the time.
Of course, we all get it wrong all the time. That's the point of this.
That's the whole point. And what happens if Shedeur Sanders stinks and is out of the league in 3 years? Is Mel Kiper going to be like, I was wrong about him? No, he's going to say that the situation was wrong and he wasn't properly developed and he went to a bad spot in Cleveland. Like, everyone has built-in excuses for all these things. To be outraged over something that is such a crapshoot, finding a quarterback in the NFL is stupid. It was just stupid. And it's really interesting. Like, you mentioned Mel Kiper, how did he get his start? Well, before the internet, he just decided, I'm going to be the draft guy. I don't think he has any scouting experience. I don't believe he worked for any front offices. That's why him and the guy from the Colts back in like 1980 got into a big fight about him like projecting how they did in the draft. Like, he doesn't have anything. He's essentially the people before the internet. Now we see them on Twitter. They just go, here, I posted a clip from YouTube. This is me breaking down film. I know what happened.
Okay, I don't really care that much. Let's hear from, I mean, my God. Let's hear from Barry. Dude, you lost me. You lost me in that.
I had a cold brew right before the show started. And in the middle of that sentence, it kicked in, and I just kept going.
I hope you don't think I was being rude, but I was starting to lose it, and I had to jump in. Sorry.
No, honestly, the Waze went off of my phone saying, "Come on, we got to reel this back in and find our destination." Just automatically went off, so I totally understand. All right, Andrew Berry, he's the GM of the Cleveland Browns, and he spoke to the media and said this is what they liked about Shedeur Sanders.
We view him as a highly accurate pocket passer. He does a really good job of protecting the ball. He has enough of the physical characteristics, whether it's arm strength or mobility. Like all young players, there are things to improve. I think probably much has been said about the number of sacks he's taken. Some of that is environment, and some of that is improvement on his end for sure.
All right,
you want to hear from Shedeur? You want to hear from Shedeur?
Let's hear from Shedeur.
All right, let's hear the first one. Shedeur Sanders, any regrets in how you handled the lead up to the NFL draft?
I feel like in life, it's always a way I can improve. So it's always in different areas I'm able to improve. And some things that, I could have done at the time that seemed right at the time. I could have went about it a different way, and that was like more during the season and stuff like that.
All right. I mean, I don't have a problem with this quote.
No, I think he's getting humbled. If you don't get humbled from this, it's never going to happen.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Shedeur Sanders has a wonderful opportunity, like the best opportunity. He literally was told by everybody what we don't like about you. You were showing up to meetings, you blah, blah, you were disrespectful, all that kind of stuff. He now has the blueprint of what not to do. So just go in there, grind, win the starting job, and get the hell out of it, and then literally shove it in everybody, in my face, Dustin's face, everybody's face, all the other organizations. Go ahead.
Yeah,
great opportunity.
The comparison's always Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady took it personally that all those quarterbacks went before him. This is different because we weren't talking about Tom Brady. We didn't think anything of Tom Brady going into that draft. It wasn't a big deal. People thought Shedeur was going to go on the first day, then the second day, then it became the third day. It was very public. He has added fuel to the fire. And by the way, he wants to go do all that other stuff away from the field. Do it when you have some substance. Like after you perform and you're playing well and you live up to the hype, you can go do whatever you want off the field. People will put up with it then. It's just right now, they're not going to do it.
Awesome opportunity. Just the perfect spot. I would love to be in that spot. Oh, people are doubting me. Now I have extra motivation. Great. It's fun. I mean, it's great. And
it's a good thing if you know how to use it.
And the celebration or the victory lap will be twice as sweet. There you go. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Opening up, we're talking about Shedeur. We'll get to the basketball. It was a huge story over the weekend as he falls. There was talks about the dude being number 1 overall draft pick, and he fell to the 5th round. We said it on Friday. I said, nothing like this has ever happened. Not even come close.
No. Also, on the whole, like, legacy thing and, like, proving us wrong, think about this. You're going to the Cleveland Browns. Of all the franchises you could have went to that have not had a quarterback in forever, there's literally that one jersey that they just add another name to in a different column every year because they're starting a new quarterback and they're hopeful that it's gonna get done right this time. If you win with the Cleveland Browns, the legacy you have as a quarterback is way higher than if you went to another team that's won multiple Super Bowls. You have a chance to carve out something special here.
And he doesn't need the cash. He threw like $100,000 party after because he made so much money in NIL and hello and endorsements. His dad's rich. Like, he's fine. He lost a lot of money by falling to the 5th round, but he doesn't. Sure. I'm not trying to get in his pockets, but if you have $100,000 to spend on a party, you're probably got a little more in the bank.
Yeah, maybe give that to your brother, though, so he doesn't get his fancy car repoed, because that happened too.
I didn't see that. Let's go to Dave in Arizona here on VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Hi, Dave.
How you doing, guys?
What's up?
Do you remember me from last week or the week before telling you about how bad his footwork is?
I do remember that, yes.
Right. Well, here's the truth right here. You're seeing it now in real life, and you actually had a really good point about his dad coaching him. He's never been coached before. That's why Tom Brady was teaching him remedial footwork drills. When he gets to the Cleveland Browns, he's going to find out how good a quarterback he isn't. Because when all they do is drills. That's all you do, especially in mini camps and things like that. He's going to find some things out about himself that he needs to, he has an opportunity, like you're saying, but is he going to capitalize on that? And I'll take you back to when his dad was drafted. He went into the New York Giants, and they asked him to do some stuff just like Dayball did. They asked him to do a test and this, that, and the other. And he looked at him and said, when are you picking? They said 10th. He said, I'll be gone by then, and walked out. That tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, and his dad could do that because his dad's talent was exceedingly good.
He was undeniable.
Shedeur apparently, and allegedly what we're reading in the reports that are coming out, Shedeur was popping off like he's Dion, but he and his brother aren't even on the same planets.
Yeah, but also Dion was right. Dion was right. He went 5th. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
If you back it up, you can talk like that if you back it up. Unfortunately, Shedeur Sanders didn't back it up ahead of time.
I was just so annoyed honestly, when the innuendo and all that started coming about racism, I just was just like, dude, have we not evolved, people, enough? Like, of course there are stupid racist people. I'm not going to put my head in the sand, but can't he just be mid?
Can he be not that special at quarterback and then also extremely annoying off the field? And that's a horrible combo if you want to get drafted high in the NFL? I don't know.
Yeah, the quote we just heard from him, it was fine. It was good. He said, I liked it. He said, I can grow. I have things to improve on. Great. But if you're being interviewed, listen to me. If you're being interviewed by a head coach, potentially draft you, and one of your boys calls you on FaceTime, probably hit cancel. Don't pick it up.
But doesn't this also just speak volumes? Mike Tomlin has one quarterback on his roster. His name is Mason Rudolph. We've all lived out that whole storyline before. Mason Rudolph, can he be a starter? We've learned the hard way the answer is no. And multiple times in this draft, Mike Tomlin said, Shador's out there? Nah, I'm good. That lets you know about both the player and the person.
Yeah, 100%. People didn't want him. Jimmy Haslam wanted him. Kevin Stefanski didn't want him. Andrew Berry didn't want him. The owner of the Browns wanted him.
Jimmy Haslam, who, oh, by the way, is also part of that Milwaukee Bucks ownership group who just gave their GM an extension, and now they're in a tricky spot as well. So Jimmy Haslam, not really known for making the best business decisions for his franchises.
When we come back, let's dive into the NBA tonight. We've got games to play. The Cavs Heat, first one up. Cleveland laying 8.5. Rockets Warriors, a good one. Warriors 2-1 series lead. Golden State laying 3.5. It looks like Butler is going to play. We'll get into the basketball. Get your calls, 888-623-3646 as we open up a week here. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, got the summer special over at VSiN. VSiN's on SiriusXM channel 158. Get 24/7 sports betting coverage on channel 158 and on the SiriusXM app. Now, here's the deal, and this is for SiriusXM subscribers and Mad Dog Sports Radio listeners. You can get everything we offer as far as a VSiN Pro subscription for $19 through August 1st. Okay, so a daily email with all the best bets, hosts and guests, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa. You get our Kentucky Derby betting guide, which is coming up this Saturday, of course. The NFL betting guide, it's all there. It's just $19. Go to vsin.com/subscribe. You have to use the promo code SIRIUS. Okay, we got you back here. Dustin Swedelson from the beautiful studios at the Win, the SiriusXM studios. Doing a great job. Shout out to Goulet and the crew. We appreciate you guys. Naya, Ryan running YouTube, youtube.com/VSiN Live. Make sure you give a subscription. We genuinely appreciate that. Now, a couple of things. I would like to start here. I was watching, we were doing Shedeur. If you wanted to comment on Shedeur, I know many of you do. We'll wrap that into the conversation as well. But I have a mea culpa. I have to apologize. I think in life, we get entrenched in our ideas, our notions, our concepts. And once we do, it's hard to come out of them. And we're conditioned to be that way. I was never a LeBron guy. Never. Like, I thought he was condescending. Obviously, it just is a lot, shutting down his social media, then thumbs up on big butts. It's like lies. Just lies. I'm all in. I'm all in. I'll tell you what happened. Now, it was a thrilling game. Minnesota beat the Lakers and take a 2-1 series lead. I believe it is at this point, big guy. Yep. But I'm watching the game. Great game. Lakers had a big lead. Minnesota came back. Dustin said it. Maybe Minnesota's better than we thought. It's an exciting young team. There was an effort block at some point. 3-1 lead?
3-1.
Yeah. There was an effort. LeBron James, who's 40, at one point, I call it an effort block because it wasn't just, natural instincts to go up. No, he chased someone down and blocked it. It was remarkable as far as the athleticism, but just the effort that he put into it. I don't know why, but in that moment, I was like, I'm in. He's been doing this for 20 years. One of the greatest athletes of our generation, obviously a top 3 player in the NBA. And I never cared. That block, I appreciated it. I stepped back for a second and I was like, we're kind of lucky to have had this guy around for 20 plus years. It's been awesome. I'm in on LeBron.
Welcome aboard. So you're right now making the statement you would take LeBron James over Michael Jordan. I just want clarity on this.
Don't you dare. Do I look like Doug Gottlieb or JT the Brick? You're not doing that to me.
I've been trying for 9 years. 9 years to get you to say which one you like better. But here's what I'd say. Welcome to the LeBron party. There's a way to appreciate what he does. Because, physically speaking, I don't know if we've seen another specimen across sports who can do what he does. And I'm not just talking about, running fast and jumping, but, the physical capabilities to play 1 through 5 on the floor, defend 1 through 5 on the floor. And at 40 years old, 2 games ago, when Luka has the flu and he's clearly out of it, LeBron can just step up and go 38, 10, and 4 with 2 blocks and 2 steals. It's kind of stupid that he's able to keep doing this. And I think there's a way to appreciate what he's doing without doing what I just did and make you choose between him and Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he was awesome in the game. You mentioned 27 points, 12 boards, 8 dimes. That block I told you about. I don't know. It was weird.
Also, I think that speaks volumes, though. You're talking about this block. What's the other hallmark moment in LeBron's career everyone talks about? Also, a block. It's not shots. It's not a dunk. It is the fact that he had 2 hustle dunks that have impressed you here.
Maybe I'm just getting soft in because I didn't like him after that in the finals with the block.
Well, no, but here's the problem. Your issues with LeBron have nothing to do with basketball. This may be tied into the Shedeur Sanders thing. It's that he's going to give a quote after a game, or there's going to be controversy that he's going to say something. It's going to be passive aggressive, and it's trying to get adulation from people and get attention and steal a moment, and you're going to be bothered by him. Your issues with LeBron have been pretty consistent, and none of them have to do with actual basketball.
But it's almost like he wore me down, and he's just been doing it for so long. and he's still so great that I just had to give in.
Yeah, no, I think he's making it really hard. He's making it really hard to deny him as a player because he's 40. If I told you he had 3 more good years, would you be shocked? If I told you he had 4 more good years, would you be shocked? Because it doesn't feel like there's been much of a drop-off the last few.
And by the way, while I won't give an opinion between, and I'm coming to the calls, while I won't give an opinion between Jordan and LeBron, I just want everybody to understand something. There's 3, and then you can start your discussion. LeBron, Jordan, and Kareem. Whatever order you want to put them in, those are the 3 greats, and there are plenty of great players behind them, but that is the unequivocal top 3.
I did notice you started LeBron, Jordan, then Kareem.
I know I said Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, then I said Kareem, LeBron, Jordan, then I said like, don't do that to me. Don't you dare. So yeah, I don't know. It was a great game. The T-Wolves won 16-113. This Edwards, he's spectacular. I know Luke has been sick. Let me just say this. I know this is going to shock you. What was Dallas thinking?
No, Nico Harrison, even if the Lakers get eliminated, he's going to try and spin zone this and be like, guys, look, see, the Lakers didn't get much further than we did. No, the Lakers are in such a better position. How about Rui Hachimura stepping up for them too? But I came away from that game yesterday, man. I mean, Hachimura was out of his mind in the second half. JJ Redick, they ran out of gas. They don't have enough help.
They just don't have depth. He played everybody the whole second half you mentioned.
Minnesota's crazy. Julius Randle is nice, especially when he's the number 2 option, right? Like, he's nice.
Correct.
And Naz Reid, more minutes for him, I think, is more success for the T-Wolves. DiVincenzo gives them solid minutes off the bench. Like, they're a uniquely deep team right now in the NBA, Minnesota.
Reeves had an opportunity from the corner, botched it. I thought, dude, you can't miss that shot. That is the easiest setup. Corner 3, tie it, don't think, wasn't even close.
Hachimura, Luka, and Reeves were combined 15 of 34 from 3. 15 of 34 from 3.
We can all agree that it sucks the Lakers didn't win, right? Because I want more of this series.
Well, yeah, I mean, also, you also have to factor in the next round. Is Minnesota, Oklahoma City, right? That's what the next round would be. That's not exactly Adam Silver's wet dream of a matchup.
No. Let's get to your calls, 888-623-3646. So we've got Shedeur on the table. Have you ever come around on an athlete like I just did yesterday? So we can throw that out there as well. I'm just all in on LeBron now. I have no clue. He blocked the shot, and I was just like, you know what? I like this guy. I like the cut of this guy's jib. He would turn to me and be like, where you been? I've been great for 20 straight years. And I would say I'm slow to come around.
Oh, I got one. I'll bring it up later, but it's an NFL player.
All right, let's get to the calls. We'll start with our buddy Bill and Chevy Chase. Hi, Bill.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
What's up?
Of course. I called about Sanders, but pivoting to the whole LeBron thing, a few things. I'm kind of like you in terms of I've never been a big LeBron fan, and for me it's Kareem, always Kareem. But, in terms of a physical specimen, yes, I think that's a fair point. If you want somebody who I think would match up with him physically and athletically, probably be better than him, it was Wilt Chamberlain, who by all accounts was just an incredible athlete, in his younger days, especially in his early days in the league. So that would be the first thing. Just one thing yesterday, I was having the same reaction to you. The block, he was making a lot of good plays, but down the stretch, he made a lot of bad plays and you could argue he fumbled that game away. He made
I know what you're saying.
He chucks up that 3, and it's not that he missed that 3 when he was like a mile away. He shouldn't have taken that 3. There was no reason for it. He gets the inbounds pass stolen, and he commits the foul. I mean, those things arguably cost the game just as much as that, and it's not to negate the block and the other stuff you said, but let's look at the whole picture with LeBron.
Sure.
One more question. Watching that game, what did occur to me? So as of today, who won the Karl Anthony Towns trade? The Knicks or the Timberwolves?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Randall was great in the game.
Hold on. Karl Anthony Towns
out
of his mind the last 2 games.
It was against my Pistons. He didn't show up in game 2 in the second half. He showed up in game 3 and 4. That's very apparent.
The problem with judging the trade is not judging the fact that Minnesota traded Karl Anthony Towns and got Randall and DiVincenzo back. You have to judge it in the sense that they latched onto the wrong guy in Rudy Gobert. Now, I don't know who's trading for Rudy Gobert, but Rudy Gobert is unplayable in big chunks of time against the Lakers right now. When he's off the floor, they flow much better.
Yeah, but they gave him a contract. Like you said, nobody's trading for that contract. Let's see. Yeah, came around on LeBron. It was weird, too, how it happened. Bill's right. He wasn't great late, but he was all around. Even in game 3, I believe it was, where he was just hitting 3 after 3. I'm just like, he's obviously worked on his shot as well throughout his career. He's a pretty incredible athlete. Breaking news.
He's also 40 years old, and he played 46 minutes yesterday. So a lot of what happened down the stretch, I think we can attribute to the fact that he played 46 minutes, and that's just bound to happen.
I do like the fact that LeBron spends $1 million and he looks like Luka is astoundingly good. We can admit he's definitely fat though.
Yeah, no,
he's out of shape.
Yeah,
the contrast with him and LeBron is hilarious to me.
Now I'm not alleging anything, but I might be alleging everything. Do we believe what LeBron is taking is available to the masses? Like, can anyone just buy the supplements he takes?
I can't say yes or no. My assumption is he's probably got some pretty good connections.
I feel like he's a science experiment at this point.
He's incredible. Let's say hi to Chris in New Jersey here, VSiN Live. Hi, Chris.
Gentlemen, good evening. How are you?
Good, Chris. What's up?
Thanks for taking the call. Listen, sure. I got to say, I was almost like looking at that video last night about LeBron and Ant pushing him. I'm like, is this real or is this some like fake social media? And then when somebody's telling me it's real, I'm saying to myself, yo, this would not happen with Michael Jordan. And I'm not a Jordan guy. I'm a Knicks fan. He killed us. But like what I saw was, I didn't see a fire. And you're right. He's a physical specimen, a freight train, everything. For me, he's not my cup of tea for basketball. Like, I like the more elegant play. But again, I'm not going to diminish him. He's absolutely amazing. I love his politics. I think he's a fraud. But on the other hand, guys, when I think about LeBron, and I'm going to get bashed, I get it, if I say this to friends. When I think about 90s basketball, I'm 48 years old. I don't see a real unbelievable difference between him and, like, Karl Malone. I don't. I know he's better. I'm not. I know you guys are going to laugh. Listen, laugh all day. But you tell me, watch close, without judgment. They got the same body. They're just as strong. Malone passes. He can score. And I got to tell you, I don't see this unbelievable difference. And I watch basketball every day with my eyes. I'm telling you, I'm a sick dude. That's what I see, gentlemen.
Thank you, Chris.
Karl Malone?
I'll respectfully disagree. The mailman in the mix.
Who just had to finish the play?
But what Chris said was true. Like, was it during the game or after the game where they were having those times of LeBron and Anthony Anthony Edwards were legitimately just having the times of their lives.
Oh, no, and then, like, it would end, they'd go to the huddle, and, like, at one point the camera caught Anthony Edwards, like, laughing, smiling about it. So it's like, look, that's the competitive thing. The Karl Malone thing, hold on, we need to address this, just because I'm not saying LeBron is better than Michael Jordan. I just want to be clear with this statement. But nobody in the history of basketball across the board could do more on the floor than LeBron James can do. That's a reality. When you go across every single thing that goes into being a basketball player.
I love Chris, but you're actually arguing if LeBron's better than Karl Malone?
No. I'm just saying to compare him to people that far beneath him is offensive to the king. That's all I'm saying.
Totally. I mean, Karl Malone was a great player. LeBron's just on another level. But Chris he said he does agree he's better. To be fair to Chris, he said just doesn't see a huge difference.
That's a crazy statement.
I love Chris, but that was kind of wild. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. I've turned the corner on LeBron. You got that open. We've got Shador conversation continuing. Plenty to do. We'll get back to your calls. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Solid energy from the Miami Heat at home in an elimination spot. They trail 17-5. So good effort. That's that. First intermission in Florida with the Lightning and Panthers tied up at Zippy. So no.
Good on Cleveland though, because Oklahoma City took care of business, and now they get to chill and relax, waiting for their next opponent. For Cleveland, it's pretty obvious Indiana's going to put Milwaukee away in their next game, so they got to take care of business tonight so they can rest up as well. Like, you don't want this series to go on longer than it has to.
20-5. Good effort by the Heat. Solid game
at home.
Looking forward to it. I should turn
Season
it
on the line. Season on the line.
Yeah.
At home.
Chris in Tampa joins us here, VSiN Live. Hi, Chris.
Hey guys, what's going on?
What up, Chris?
So in naming LeBron, Michael, amongst on the Mount Rushmore and Kareem of players, I'm just curious, and I'd like to give you mine real quick. But what do you guys think then? If you're going to put 4 players on the Mount Rushmore, who would be that 4th player? And then I'll give you mine real quick.
That is interesting. Who's yours? And we'll come up with one. Who do you got?
Okay. I didn't want to do that, but okay, I'll give you mine. And this kind of
wait, hold on. Then I'll play along with you. We'll answer it. My instinct, my gut says, who do you got, big guy? I'm not a Russell guy because it just wasn't. My gut says, honestly, it's like Magic, Bird, and somewhere in that realm. What do you say, Dustin?
Well, it's my Mount Rushmore or the greatest of all time, because mine, who I loved, are not the greatest of all time. Because I'd go Dennis Rodman, John Starks, Jason Williams.
You're not playing along. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, let me that. All right. No, but it's funny because the first name you guys mentioned, and Dustin said I'm not a Russell guy, and that's where I bring in Mad Dog. Now I'm around the same age you guys, I imagine. I was born in 1981. But if I ask my father, anytime I ask my father who's the best player he ever saw, his brothers, his friends, and I ask them who's the greatest player of all time, it's maybe not for Michael Jordan. And almost every time they're like, you know what, man, it's a tough one, but I'll tell you what, the best player I ever saw was Bill Russell. But obviously that was before my time. But, I mean, it's almost a forgotten player. But the other player that Mad Dog always brings up, and certainly maybe not top 4, but Mad Dog does say maybe the top 5 is Alvin Robertson. But it is funny, though. The first name he mentions is like, I'm not a Russell guy. And, that's before our time. We never saw him.
No, good job, Chris. There's just so much to the Russell. Is Russell the greatest winner of all time? Of course.
Yeah.
I think we have to be realistic. Is he better than the players we're talking? No, I'm sorry.
Skilled, great defender, anchor of that team.
Great winner, great defender.
Team was loaded. All right, you want me to play your game? I know the first 3. The first 3 are easy for me, and it's not, my third's not Kareem. It's MJ, LeBron, Magic. Then my 4th spot's open.
Kareem was the best. I'm telling you, Kareem. It's impossible. You might be a little young. I saw him later in his career, and he was still unstoppable.
I have a problem with the bigs. That's because sometimes, like, just the size gives them so many more attributes than these other players. In terms of dominant big men I saw, I'll put Shaq up against anyone, but Kareem was more skilled than Shaq. No, Shaq was the man.
No, you like shtick.
I
just
do.
Love like you literally like Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is the most boring, basic dork ever.
But he does all the things. He does all the things all the nerds like.
He had sex.
No, but as a basketball player, he does all like the little things that everyone nerds out over. He just happened to be wild.
I didn't say Dennis Rodman wasn't a great player. Dennis Rodman was a great player, but his personality is whack.
Hey, but no one wanted to stand in front of Shaq, though. I can tell you that. No one was willing to stand in front of that trait frame.
What?
Freight
train?
Freight train.
You're right.
Monday.
Nobody did. I guess that's a good question, though, by Chris. I think it would just have to be somewhere between Bird and Magic for 4 for me, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably Magic. Bird, just the injuries.
Yeah, if Bird didn't get injured, it's probably Bird.
Bird was amazing. Let's say Brandon in Texas here, VSiN Live. Hi, Brandon.
Hello, how are you guys doing today?
Good, Brandon. What's up?
I just had a question regarding the Lakers series. I wanted to ask, how would you think that Mark Williams trade would have impacted the playoffs right now?
I think it would have been – it's a good question, Brandon. I think Mark Williams, had he passed his physical, which he failed – the Lakers failed him. I think he'd be an integral part of this lineup.
Yeah, he's kind of a donk.
The size.
He's kind of a donk because he's been out of shape, but also if you played for Charlotte, I don't know how motivated you would be. It's like going to a crappy job anywhere. I would tell you, though, the Lakers' strength in this series is being able to run and gun, and Mark Williams isn't like an old school big, but I wonder how much he'd be on the floor, because the way to beat Minnesota is to play fast-paced and shoot a lot of threes, and I don't know if he's necessarily making an impact in that style of a game.
We are finding out, and this is what in betting, you will pay a tax on certain teams. And the Lakers, you paid a tax before the series started as far as the series price.
Minnesota was plus 190. You could have gotten plus 190 on them. Now I believe the Lakers are like 4-1, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we said at the time it was a ridiculous number. Let's say hi.
350 on the Lakers.
Billy, Las Vegas joins us. Hi, Billy.
Hey, how are you?
Good, Billy. What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to talk about what you guys thought about the Raiders draft this year, and what do you think about the season coming up?
You got it, Billy. Appreciate you bumping around Vegas with his Raiders. They got great reviews on their draft. I know there's needs truthers and offensive line truthers. I loved the Genty pick. If you can potentially draft what people are calling a Hall of Famer, I think he makes a mediocre offensive line, even though Saquon couldn't do it. Maybe Genty's different. I have no clue. I like the Genty pick. How'd the rest of the draft go for the Raiders?
Okay, let's skip Genty because I think we all agree he's special. They have a lot of needs is the problem with the Raiders. Now, I like the Jack Becht pick, the TCU wide receiver. They got a receiver out of Tennessee in Thornton who's like 6'5", a big body. There's a corner, Darian Porter, they took out of Iowa State, who just moved to the position 2 years ago, but was really effective. And the reason why they got him, I think, in the 3rd or 4th round was because he was just new to the position. I think they expect him to be awesome. And they took a couple offensive linemen. One, Charles Grant from William & Mary, who we had a draft expert on the show, Justin Mello, who we respect. And he said that was his favorite prospect that was a sleeper coming in. So I think they met some needs. And one of their last picks is an interesting piece. Maybe this is a Taysom Hill type role, but Tommy Malote was a Montana State quarterback. I think he's going to play wide receiver, but he's super fast. Super fast.
Yeah, what are the Raiders? I'm a Geno guy. So I do think Geno's very good. They're an 8-win team next year. You can improve drastically, but I think they've got a ways to go.
It's a tough division.
The brutal division.
Yeah, I mean, you can only do so much in one offseason.
And they've done a lot.
Yeah.
Adam Hill, who does a great job covering sports in Vegas, and JVT said the Genty pick was horrific. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my brain around a horrific pick. You may have preferred something else, but I don't quite understand that.
No, they needed O-line, they needed corners, and they addressed that later. Look, they got two guys, a kid out of Texas Tech, the William Mary offensive tackle. I think most people project one of them to work out and potentially be a starter. And they got a corner, which was a huge need for this team for a few years now. I think we're also underestimating the improvement that's going to come from Antonio Pierce being out of the equation and having legitimate head coaching staff in there.
Yeah, I mean, the Carroll thing I was against at first, but I'm starting to buy in. I'm coming around on Carroll.
Because you're a culture guy. Everyone knows it.
I think they needed to settle it down for a couple of years.
Yeah, he may not win the way people expect a new head coach to win at a spot, but he may be the person that just stabilizes this franchise so someone else can come in and take over. Yeah.
He's 75 years old. He's going to be there for a few years. Just chill it out. The Raiders need to chill. They had no chill for many years. And then they hired a coach because they were smoking cigars and winning a couple of games because they botched the Bisaccia intern who took them to the playoffs. So then they hired Pierce.
And they also beat a lot of bad teams down the stretch that really weren't trying to win.
We were talking about the Lakers. Here's our number one Laker fan, Mike.
Yeah, easily. By the way, I got a big announcement at the end of this call. First of all, Justin, listen, You not putting Kareem in your top 4, that's going to be a problem. Torrey,
I didn't do that.
What are you doing?
I said the 4th spot's open. I hadn't decided yet. I had 3, and the 4th spot's open.
Kareem's got to be.
He's number 1.
You could argue he's 1.
He was the best player for 15 years.
He was
through
7
the
feet
70s,
tall.
through the mid-80s. 6 titles, 6 MVPs, 19 times all. It's ridiculous. Look, LeBron's great. Jordan's great. That skyhook was unstoppable. Literally unstoppable. You couldn't stop it. Nobody blocked.
He was born tall. That's what happens when you're born tall. You get to do certain things other people can't do. Mike, if I was 7 feet tall, you wouldn't even know who I was.
Might be the NBA. By the way, Patrick, I'm glad to talk about LeBron. Way to come on. By the way, May 31st, Hennessy's Mad Dog Radio West Coast. You guys be there. It's gonna be a big party. That's all. I've been told to pass that on.
Wait, what is it? Say
May
it again.
31st on a Saturday.
May 31st.
Hennessy's I think it's in Hermosa. Hennessy's in the afternoon. Mad Dog Radio West Coast get together. We're trying to get it together.
Wait, hold on a second.
You there?
I live
Yeah,
2 seconds
You're
from
gonna go?
Hennessy's.
Yeah, we walked by that.
Dude, I live right by
guess
the
you're
pier.
And you're
Hennessy's
still
on
not
the
gonna
pier.
And you're still not going to go.
Wait, hold on.
Patrick,
I got a beer yesterday
go.
and watched the Lakers game at Hennessy's. Will I be there when you get there?
Then you have no excuse. Beetle, Decker, maybe.
Oh,
me,
well,
maybe.
if the
I
Beetle
don't
and Decker
know.
are going to be there, I got to go. That energy
that'd
will
be fun,
pick me
wouldn't
up.
it?
You know what I'm
We gotta
saying?
do this. Dustin, you flying out for this or what? Is your girlfriend out here anyhow? Take her over there. I can meet her. How you doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic on that side of town. I don't know if I can make it.
Wait, hold
my
on.
God, Patrick,
Who's
he's so
organizing?
scared to bring his girlfriend around all the
who's
listeners.
organizing this get together, Donk?
I know some folks are organizing it. A few of those. Babchick may fly out. I hear.
Of course.
Possibly.
But all kidding aside, if you guys show up at Hennessy's, I'll
You
go
doing it?
because it's just like right there. But if I had to get an Uber or something, no chance.
Yeah, this is how you get Patrick to a party. You literally bring it to his block.
Patrick will pick you up on the way.
I'm telling
You're
you,
right there. You can walk.
Later, Donk. Whatever. I'm telling you with 100% certainty that would be so disrespectful if I didn't show up. I could crawl there in 2 minutes. Zach Harper's next. VSiN Live.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, Z-Harp's going to join us, NBA radio, of course. The NBA playoffs are here, and you can catch it and all the action. SiriusXM NBA radio channel 86. Is that idiot Termini still hosting over there? Freaking out, yelling at everybody. Chill out, JT. Anyway, Game 4 tonight, the Rockets. I did that for Z-Harp. And the Warriors live from San Francisco. Don't miss a moment of the postseason action on Channel 86. And remember, you can find all the games home and away. Call SiriusXM.com/sports. Zach Harper, NBA Radio, of course, joins us. And want to mention as well, you can find all the podcasts at Talk Hoops on Twitter. A must follow if you're into basketball. And all of that. The Athletic as well. So Mike in the OC, your buddy, just called, and he brought this up. So I want to pose it to you.
Okay.
There's a get-together apparently going down, a Mad Dog Sports Radio get-together. Like Babchick's going to fly out, Beadle and Decker, a bunch of people, and it's going to happen at Hennessy's, which I can pretty much see right outside here in Hermosa Beach on the pier. The question is, will you come?
This is the first I'm hearing about. When is it?
May 31st.
May 31st. I should be here.
I'll text you. I would just feel like you're a Mad Dog Sports Radio alum. I would feel comfortable going with somebody like you. I'm awkward.
Oh yeah,
public.
if I get to hang out with you and Beads, like absolutely, yeah. These are my people. Yeah, you and Beads, okay. I'm in. Yeah,
yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah,
Big guy, are you gonna come?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Are you allowed to come?
Consider it.
What do you got going on? Come on.
Well, like
he's got a girlfriend now.
No, but I'm not bringing her to that.
Right, but no one gets in trouble to fly away from Vegas for the weekend.
No, I would look. If both of you go, I will go. I believe I am available that weekend. I have to think about things. I might actually be in LA already. I think I am already.
If you're in LA, you love the attention. You eat it up.
Yeah, but a lot of that was because I wasn't getting attention from a woman. Now that I get attention from a woman, I don't crave that as much.
I'll look good. I'll make sure I look good for you. Like, come on, yeah.
Let's look up these dates. Goes, all right, I'm in LA. I'm in LA May 28th through June 6th. So yes, I will.
So you have no excuse. Get to hang out with the two of us.
Lock it in. Yeah.
Let's go. Mike and the OC came through today. I appreciate that. Like, I know it's a trek for you guys from West Hollywood. It's literally 2 seconds from me.
No, it's not as bad as for me as it is for Zach. Zach's in North Hollywood.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Sherman Oaks. So I'm a little closer to the 405 now. But yeah, like, I mean, man, I don't really go over that hill unless
you got to pack a lunch. You got to pack a lunch. You
too.
Yeah.
You two should carpool. Make it fun.
Well, I mean, I have to get a hotel, clearly. Like, that's I'm not driving back. Like, that's crazy.
There's plenty of spots. I would say you guys could crash with me, but I don't do that.
No,
yeah, I don't blame
you. You don't want us crashing with you. That's crazy.
I would prefer pay for your hotel.
Well, that's on the record now, right? We got that family, on the record.
No, I will. My family, my sister, and this is Dustin. This is for you because you're having people stay at your apartment. My sister and brother-in-law and their kids are coming to California. They said, we don't have a place to stay. I said, I'll tell you what. I'll give you my apartment. I'll get a hotel. They're like, well, you don't have to leave. I'm like, I do have to leave.
No, that's the move. That's always the move.
He's criticizing me because, one, my sister is visiting this weekend and my girlfriend's visiting. Following up with that, going July 4th, bringing my girlfriend to my family in Atlanta, and we are staying with my parents, not getting a hotel. And I'm being killed for this.
The first time he's bringing this chick home, he's staying in his with the Patrick Ewing poster.
No, you get a hotel. You don't go to one. You don't stay somewhere where Patrick Ewing is looking over you. No offense to Patrick Ewing.
Cal Ripken is also.
Well, look, you had a different streak going on in that room that I don't think she wants to be a part of. Okay, that's
Z-Harp. He got legitimately mad at me. We were bringing like 10 people came on and said, "What the hell are you doing?" And that made him double down more because he's prideful. He respects you. Could you at least tell him this is an insane idea? Girls need to use the restroom and stuff.
Okay, but let me also add, she's already met my parents. In fact, the first time she met them, they all were at my apartment. They had to leave because I was doing the show from my apartment. Her first time ever saying, "Hi, I almost said her name. That would have been really bad. And introduced
He's not allowed to say her name, and she doesn't say his name. It's a really clandestine, freaking weird relationship.
I think when guys in her DM, she doesn't tell them she has a boyfriend either. No, I'm just kidding. That's not real. I have to be careful because I got in trouble last week.
Yes, you did.
But the first time they met, they just left my apartment. They went and had lunch, and they went to Costco and got me stuff. Like, that was their first time ever meeting. So they've spent a lot of time together.
Okay, Zach, you still have to get a hotel, correct?
That's amazing. It's great that they get along and everything. Get a hotel. What are you doing? Room service, maid service, our own bathroom. Like, this is what you do.
There's 3 bathrooms in the house. She can have her choice.
You don't get it. It's sorry. You just don't. There's nothing we can do. And by the way, he got in trouble last week. He said the craziest thing on.
Well, wait until she stays with his parents. Like, that's gonna be.
He said one of the most remarkably crazy things of all time, and he got pummeled for it. And I'm not even gonna say it because I'm a good guy. But text me after.
We'll put it to this way.
I'll tell you. I mean, it's literally you'll sit there in astoundment and be like, I can't believe he said
I'll text it to you, and I'll let you know. But basically, my girlfriend, she likes him big and dumb, and I just proved her right.
Yeah. Okay. And she did say that. I like him big and dumb. Okay.
Yeah, but don't be so dumb that you don't get a hotel room. I'm telling you, just trust us on this. Get the hotel room. It will be better. It's worth the money.
He's 40 years old.
He's not even listening.
I'm texting you. I'm texting you.
You better text him exactly what was said because it was wild. All right, let's start here with the effort. Zach Harper, of course, NBA Radio, The Athletic.
Check your phone and just react. Just check your phone and react.
All right, you got it. So, yeah, I said girls need to use the restroom.
Oh,
Dustin
brother.
said that.
What are you? You said that on air?
On air.
Yes.
This air.
Yeah.
And she heard it.
Oh, there's a joke about air in there, and I'm going to leave it alone. The air.
No. What do you?
I was being kind, and I said, I know that we don't think girls go number 2, but they do, and they like to do it and feel good about themselves. That's why you get a hotel. And Dustin said that line.
No comment.
Wild.
No comment. I'm here to talk about Qualcomm.
So the Cavs are up 3-0 on the Heat, and a good effort
they sure
in the
are.
elimination game. The Cavs lead 43-17. Good effort.
It's look, this is what you expect when what the Grizzlies did the other night when they were down 0-3. That's not what you expect. One of those close games, you should tap out. This is one of the things where I'm always for more basketball unless a team is down 0-3. Then don't waste my time. Tap out, get out of the series. This is what Miami should do. This is proper etiquette. Not interested in a gentleman's sweep in 5 games. I want you out.
Totally.
Okay. And Cleveland will take on Indiana next because it's over for Milwaukee. The question is, Damian Lillard announced today with the Achilles injury, so he's going to be out for a long time deep into next year. How does that impact the Giannis situation? Do you believe this offseason he could be on the move, or is it down the road?
I think he should. I mean, if you look at this, an Achilles takes a year, right? Like, we've seen this. It takes a year. We're past the regular season point. It would be, it would be a little illogical to think that Dame will be back next season. Like, I would expect him to miss. And also, if you think about it, look, he makes $54 million next season. If they rule him out for the season and he doesn't come back, they can get the disabled players exception, which then gives them a 1-year deal at 50% of his salary. So you can sign someone for up to $27 million. Now, they have to be careful because with their free agent situation and everything and their salary cap, that could put them, up against the second apron. But you can replace him kind of, but then he can't come back. And so they're in a mess. Like, this whole thing could not be worse timing for them, not just with this season, because they weren't going to win anyway. Like, Indiana was going to smoke them. Indiana has their number. But for next season, with Dame's timing and everything, I think it's responsible of Giannis and his camp to look at this situation and say, look, I got Milwaukee a ring. I've done what I can. I've got the rest of my career to think about. Let me at least look out there and see what other options are. Look, pride is great and you can want to be with one team your whole career and everything. I think that would be irresponsible to just say, I'm sticking it out. Like, this is a bad roster construction situation moving forward, in general, but especially with this injury situation.
Yeah, tonight, the Warriors lead 2-1. Your boy behind you, I was shocked. Jimmy Butler, I was shocked he didn't play in game 3 with the sore butt. But it looks like he's going to give it a go tonight. And we need to start understanding Steph Curry, he was so good in that game. And by the way, if you're the Rockets, aren't you a little concerned? The Warriors really weren't hitting threes and they got beat. So 2-1 series lead here for the Golden State Warriors.
I mean, I think the Rockets blew it. I think that's the series as long as Golden State stays healthy, and that mostly just revolves around Steph and Draymond. I mean, that's a game where you lost home court advantage in game 1. Okay, fine. You had a great bounce back game 2. No Jimmy in game 3. You should go in there and take that game. It doesn't mean you're going to win the series, but you at least put that pressure back on Golden State to lose that game in the way you did and to just never really get anything going. And Golden State played great defense. Draymond was phenomenal defensively. Buddy Hield actually came to life. Like, there are plenty of reasons why they did, but that offense was lifeless. I mean, Jalen Green didn't travel to San Francisco, I'm assuming, because I didn't see him out there. Like, they were terrible. That's such a missed opportunity. It's okay. Like, it's a young team. I get it. But it's funny, like, in the first couple of minutes of game 1, and based off of what happened at the last meeting in the regular season when Steph was held to 3 points, I had a couple of friends in a group chat going, "Oh, Steph Curry's going to be in hell in this series," and I just responded, I was like, "Guys, he is hell. What are you talking about? Like, he has been haunting this Rockets franchise for a decade. A decade. They have had great teams for at times during this decade, and he has eliminated all of them. And now this Rockets team is really good, but they're young and they're going to learn a tough lesson in this series with Jimmy back. I expect them to go up 3-1. I think the Rockets will still get another game in this series, maybe even push it to 7 on some level. They're not beating Steph. They never do.
No.
Okay, big picture though with Golden State. Like, is there enough there to make a legit title run here, Zach? Because I get it. Houston's great defensively. They're super young. They're physical and all that. But as someone who has a future on the Warriors, I do have concerns about the ceiling of this roster right now.
Yeah, I mean, there are concerns, right? Like, Jimmy's health, he's going to have to be able to recover from this. It is, I mean, I guess a butt bruise, right? To put it simply. Yeah. Like, it is a butt bruise. As long as he can get his mobility back and he can heal in time and be fine for the next series, if that does end up being Minnesota, that's a tough matchup. That's a really tough matchup for Golden State. It's even, but that's not just, let's get them into the third round and they're going to play the Thunder in the conference finals. Like, that's not a guarantee by any means. They need Buddy Hield to hit shots. Buddy Hield has been a disaster for like 3 or 4 months in terms of making threes consistently. They need Podziemski to hit shots. They need Quentin Post, who was like the 53rd pick in the draft, to still hit shots. He's been really good during the second half of the season, but they still need not a perfect storm, but they need a lot of guys to step up because they're still pretty weak offensively when not everyone in terms of Jimmy, Draymond, and Steph are on the floor, but defensively, man, they are spectacular, and that will carry them far. Like, they are contenders. They're legitimate contenders. They can win it all, but it's not an easy march through the Western Conference in order to do it. I'm not certain they get out of the next round.
Talking to our buddy Zach Harper about the NBA playoffs, you guys would imagine I'm bummed out as a Pistons fan. It's funny, the narrative like on Sports Talk Radio in New York after Game 2 was, what the hell happened to Karl Anthony Towns in the second half of Game 2? he's corrected this in Game 3 and 4. I mean, specifically in Game 4 with the big three, impossible shot he made. Your boy Cat's been tremendous.
He's good. Like, I know the internet thing of like, you got to crap on him. He's a good player. He guarded Jokic in the majority of a 7-game series and won and had good numbers. He was like 18-9 in that series and played pretty good defense. And yeah, he had a ton of help in that series with Gobert helping and McDaniels helping and everything. But like, he went toe to toe with Jokic and came out on the other side in a win. He does have ups and downs, and the downs, those low points look really bad, but that guy can shoot the ball. Like that three he hit, that step back three he hit, I was watching with the Brett and I'm like, what are you doing? And then he hit it and I just started laughing because it was a bad shot. Like I thought that fadeaway hit on the baseline, that's a good shot for him. Like he can hit that. That step back three he hit from like 30 feet, that's a bad shot. And the fact that he hit it, it just shows you how talented he is as a shooter. Everyone laughed when he said, I'm the best big man shooter ever, because you think of Dirk. And look, I'll still take Dirk in any shooting contest when it comes to big men. But it's not ridiculous to think that Cat's shooting ability is up there. He historically has the numbers and the ability to do it. It's just about consistency with him. It's about, him not turning the ball over and having those stupid fouls, especially offensively, where he tries to power through guys with his arms instead of using his body. I think he's growing up in that secondary role. He did it some in Minnesota. He's doing a better job of it in New York. He still needs Jalen Brunson to be the guy. But, man, like, you're going to put a 6'6 guy, 6'8 guy on Cat. I get it. Tobias Harris had a good game against him. You're going to get torched if you keep doing that.
Let's talk about the end of the game, because obviously that's the story coming out of yesterday, Zach. Tim Hardaway Jr. puts up the shot. There's definitely contact with Josh Hart. I understand the report where I don't know why they do it, but they admit that they missed these calls so that everyone can then talk about that the outcome of the game is wrong. Your just general thoughts of how things played out with that final play.
Should have lied. The ref should have said that was an offensive foul. Like, you just should have lied. No, I mean, look, it was a foul. It was absolutely a foul. It's funny. There are parts of it that are funny to me in that the Pistons want the game to be officiated the way it is in this series, right? They want all that pushing and grabbing and holding to not be called, and especially when it comes to Brunson, because that's the style of defense they play. It's the style of defense that fuels them. It's the reason they were good this year defensively. It's the reason they're able to be in this series with the Knicks and have it be so competitive. I mean, we're still talking about a series that I think it's about an 8-point differential over the 4 games or something in that neighborhood. I mean, it's really close. But then when you get to this last shot, it's like, oh, hold on, you got to call foul. Right? Like, I get it. It is a foul, and it should have been called. Like, they're not wrong on that. But there's a level of physicality that you let go. Also, you're 5 of 29, 7 of 29 from 3. You turned the ball over 19, 20 times in the game. It was a missed call, and they should have gone to the free throw line. You lost the game before that. That's my opinion. Like, you lost that game in the first 47 minutes and 59 seconds, not on that shot. But it's a horrible way to have that game end if you're Detroit, and they should be mad. And man, like, the last 2-minute report and the pool reporter asking, being able to ask the crew chief and everything, it feels like, this transparency is so we can not feel like Tim Donaghy's happening again. I get it. It doesn't make anyone happy. Like, everyone's like, okay, see, yeah, he admits it. Right. That was a foul. And then it's like, well, we're going to go out there and shoot the free throws? No, man, the game's over. Like, it's like, what are you going to
do? We were having the conversation before the series started. Who's the best player on the floor, regardless of team? And as much as Cade's 23 years old,
yeah.
And as much as I love him and the Pistons, like, I still was like, nah, you got to go Brunson. Brunson is freaking spectacular. He's amazing.
He's so good. Like, he understands spacing and touch and arc and everything, and how to use his body, even though he's the smallest guy on the floor. I think it's been a mistake by JB to use Dennis Schroeder late in games on him. And I get it. Dennis has done an okay job, and he poked the ball away at one point late in the game. And he's a pesky defender. I think you need size on him. I think you need Cade or Oscar Thompson. Like, you need one of those guys on him, because if he has any kind of like close height with his defender, and Schroeder's maybe 2 inches taller than him, 3 inches taller than him. It's close. He can get space, and when he can get space, and he knows you're not going to block his shot, there's really nothing you can do. It's not the shooter that Steph Curry is, but it's very Steph Curry-esque in the sense that if he knows you're not going to touch the shot, then he feels very comfortable getting it off. And he's the clutch player of the year for a reason. Like he's got stones, man. Like that guy is not afraid of the moment. He will take any shot at any angle off any foot. He is just, that guy he's going to get worn down at some point. I don't know how you can keep going with this workload, but man, he's about as reliable as it gets in the clutch.
Okay, how about Denver and the Clippers? How shocked would you be if it doesn't go 7? If some, it's an absurd series. Well, I guess the math would tell you it's going 7, right?
If it doesn't go 7, I just assume one team forgot to show up in Game 6. Like I don't know. Like this is to me the best series, and I know Game 3 was a stinker, but this is incredible basketball. Like seeing Zubats and Jokic going at it, and like the story of Zubats and how he has improved this year. He was my most improved player on my ballot. Like I just think he's unbelievable in the strides he's taken. Seeing Kawhi Leonard healthy and playing basketball the way that we want to see him play has been so fun. Seeing the way that this Denver team is trying to scrap things together, and Aaron Gordon getting that tip dunk. Like this has been really, really great basketball and just great battles. And I hope it goes 7 because I think we're going to get more moments. Maybe not exactly like we got at the end of Game 4, but these are two teams that are just going to go down to the wire the rest of the way. I don't think we're going to have another blowout. I think these are two evenly matched teams, and I don't think it's just an easy call that Denver's going to win Game 7 because it'll be on their home floor. Like I think either team can absolutely win the series.
Yeah, I know a lot of bettors that were like, this is the Clippers potentially sweep, the Clippers in 5, right, Dustin? Weren't people going nuts about the Clip? And I'm like, dude, you cannot underestimate Jokic at any point. I don't care who's around him.
Well, and then Saturday was an example of that, Zach. The alley-oop that was a missed shot into the hands and at the buzzer. That's as good of a finish as you're going to get where it looked like off his hands. Oh, no, that's way off. And next thing you know, Denver's celebrating. That is a perfect ending if you're the NBA for this series for one of the games.
Absolutely. And it's literally the closest you could get for getting that dunk off. It is the second it stops touching his fingertips, that's when the buzzer goes off, and we see it from that Hawkeye technology that they've got now. And it's a perfect play by the Clippers in terms of how Zubats defended it, how Kawhi and when Kawhi doubled Jokic on the perimeter. Jokic throws up a prayer and it's not answered until it is answered. And the whole time, you see Gordon kind of stalking it, Norm Powell and James Harden just watching it, just like, oh, look at that. That's pretty cool up there, that ball. And then Gordon comes in and gets it. And even though it's in the basket, he's still touching it. That buzzer goes off and he's still touching it. We're going to overtime. That is the closest buzzer beater you'll ever see.
Yeah, it was incredible. Let's unpack now the Timberwolves 3-1 series lead, but let's unpack yesterday. 116-113. The Lakers had a big lead. The game was fantastic. Yeah. It was so much fun. I mentioned I was at Hennessy's. The Laker fans were going wild. And Dustin mentioned Redick playing everybody every minute in the second half, and you said that was crazy.
Terrible strategy. I get it. You're rolling with your guys, but you got to give somebody a rest at some point. You can, if you win, you get to have the great story and the Lakers lore and all this stuff. I get it. They shot 5 of 18 in the fourth quarter. 5 of 18. You know why? Because they were exhausted. They were exhausted. I don't think he did them any favors. And LeBron was spectacular, and Luka was great early on in the game in the first half and pretty good in the third quarter. But that team trying to keep up, and when they went to when Minnesota went to Naz Reid late in the game, he was a fresh scorer in that moment, and he got a good drive to the basket. He got a easy 3-pointer when they were kind of scrambling in transition, and you don't need a lot of time there, with a sub in or one or two there, but you got to get Luka or LeBron at least a minute. You got to get him something, or Reeves a minute or something. I mean, I thought that was such a mistake, and it's not hindsight. Like it's not that. In the moment, they're talking about on the broadcast of these guys have not sat at any point in the second half, and you could just see like keeping up defensively. It was a great effort. It was a great effort, but great efforts don't, moral victories don't do anything for you in the playoffs. They got a loss.
Yeah, a caller asked us this question. I thought it was pretty good. Bill and Chevy Chase called in and said, who won the Karl Anthony Towns trade? And I mean, the Knicks got the better player, but I'm not so sure this isn't going to work out really good for Minnesota also. When you evaluate that trade, how different does that make Minnesota this year versus years past?
They're worse, but Ant is just becoming unreal. Like if Ant doesn't decide to become an elite 3-point shooter this past summer, this trade is not working out the way it has. I mean, Randall played really bad basketball for most of the season, and then he missed some time with an injury. Since he's come back, he's played great, and he played great in this playoff series so far. I don't want to assume it's going to keep happening because we've seen Randall have great stretches of basketball before, and then we've seen him kind of go away from that. Hopefully Ant and Chris Finch have gotten through to him, and he's going to stick with this. And I believe he's got a player option for next year. Like, he is playing for some money here, right? Whether it's this summer or next summer. And so it would behoove him to keep this going. Dante DiVincenzo is a great addition. If they continue to get this Julius Randle, it's a great trade for them. But this is happening because Ant has scored 41 points in the second half over the last 2 games. Randall's been good, but this is because Ant has decided to take out 2 more legends if they win 1 more game in the series. He took out KD in the first round last year, Jokic in the second round last year, and now he's looked at Luka and LeBron. He's been talking trash the whole time, and he's been lighting up that Lakers team in the second half during this series. And this is Ant. Like, this is Ant's ascension. He's 23 years old. Like, he's so good, and he's just scratching the surface.
Yeah, he's remarkable. That was a great game. I'll answer the question that Bill. I don't conceptualize in any way why Minnesota traded Karl Anthony Towns. Like, I don't think it's even close. Was there issues in the building?
it was money. It was just money, future money. Like, they didn't need to do it financially with the second apron and all these, cap numbers and everything. They didn't need to do it for a year, but they thought, all right, we want Dante DiVincenzo. Like, they really valued him. And Julius Randle, they're like, all right, he's a good stopgap. We can kind of do this. I think they believed that they would have him for a year. Either he would leave or they would move him in this coming summer. And then Naz Reid would kind of ease into that role as the start, because I think he can become a free agent this summer too, and he's going to make a ton of money when he does, whether that's this summer or next summer. But it was financial. It was a financial thing because you just can't have that many max players on a roster because of this stupid second apron that the NBA just screwed up with this collective bargaining agreement. So it was strictly a financial thing.
What you got, big guy?
Oh,
you live?
Yeah, no, I didn't know if we were wrapping or not. I did not know. I just looked at the clock. I didn't realize we'd gone that long.
We're hanging out.
Well, we spent 10 minutes on you not getting a hotel room, which you still haven't made the right decision here.
Okay, yeah. The question I have is about the Celtics. The Magic have played them a lot tighter than we anticipated. And I think all season long, we looked at this team, they're playing with their food. They have some weird losses on the schedule because they would, quote unquote, turn it on when it mattered. Are we not so sure there may be some bigger issues with the Celtics that could show themselves down the road against a good opponent?
They're not going to face that in the next round, right? Yeah. They're going to light the Knicks up. The Knicks are good, but the Knicks, everything the Knicks are... No, the Knicks are good, but everything the Knicks are vulnerable at doing, the Celtics are great at exploiting. So it's just a bad matchup for New York. It'll be interesting to see, assuming Cleveland gets past Indiana, it'll be interesting to see how that looks because Cleveland has played them really well in this regular season. And Boston has not been totally healthy. Like, Drew Holiday has not looked great this season. Jaylen Brown's knee over the last month or so, he had a great game 2, I believe, or game 3, whichever one that was. But his knee has been concerning to the Celtics and the people covering that team for the last month of the season. I don't know. I think they're vulnerable. I think they also kind of took their foot off the pedal a little bit this season, realizing like, okay, we had a long campaign last year. We need to manage this a little bit better. We don't need to go get 65, 70 wins. We can, be smart about this, but you got to find the rhythm. They haven't played in the same rhythm that we saw last season. And now you have a team in Cleveland that is finding a very similar attack and a very similar way of playing. And they will be challenged. They're going to be challenged. And if they face the Thunder or somebody else in the NBA finals, like that's going to be a challenge too. They're not going to face a Dallas team that they can overmatch. Like they're going to face a really incredible opponent if they make it to the finals. And so they do have to get to a better level than what we're seeing, but I think they can reach it as long as they're healthy.
I'll just say this. I think the Celtics are great. They bore me. I don't like
I don't remember a team winning a title and nobody outside of that fan base caring.
It's
like, it's never happened before. Even the Spurs were like, all right, Tim Duncan got one, and David Robinson got one. Like, I've never seen a sports world care less.
Yeah, but I think we're also all over Boston winning championships in general. It's just kind of getting old.
The team just kind of bores me. I don't know. I can't really put my. I don't know. Hey, by the way, that was such a great diversion. When Dustin, brought up the hotel and he asked a question about the Celtics. That was a good one, big guy. Good misdirection.
I had to think on my feet because the more I talk about that situation, the more trouble I'll get myself into. So I got to stay away.
Did you ever ask her if she'd prefer a hotel?
Oh, this is dicey.
That's a no. That's a no. You would have known if you did that.
Not before we had the conversation on the air. Would she be more comfortable in a hotel? Wouldn't everyone? But she's all in and on my side of staying with my family because she's a good girlfriend.
Well, what's she going to say? Of course she's going to say that.
Hopefully she's listening.
Dude,
I'm in the I still got to get out of the doghouse, dude. This is a long stretch.
Zach saw what you said. You should be in the doghouse.
Yeah, I know. I'm an idiot.
You got some time. You got some time until you're out of there. You're chained up.
Your brain is conditioned to say stupid and shocking things all the time, and sometimes you do it on the wrong subjects. That's all. I did it there. Hand up. I screwed up. Hand up.
You better say that because you doubled down later in the show the first time.
Nope. That was a mistake as well. That was a big mistake. That in that moment, I put content over my relationship. It was a bad idea.
Yeah, you certainly did. It was a horrific idea. But a good idea would be when the boys get together at Hennessy's on May 31st.
Oh,
we're in, boys.
Happening.
Absolutely, we're in.
I'm actually looking forward to that. All right, Zach Harper, we did keep you a long time. I apologize. The Athletic NBA writer, of course, SiriusXM NBA radio host at Talk Hoops on Twitter. Thanks, Zach. We'll talk to you soon.
Anytime, guys. Get the hotel.
Yep.
God.
Now even Zach is saying you botched it.
No. Look, the more I think about it and try and be objective, I do believe you're all right, but I'm in too deep at this point,
you are.
And it would just cause a scene.
You're pot committed.
And then if we do it, it's all supposedly for my girlfriend who has not requested this, and then that could be hanging over the situation with my parents all weekend long.
Yeah, you nailed it, big guy. When we come back, I'm going to give you a score between the Cavs and the Heat that is legitimately shocking. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, Mad Dog Sports Radio listeners, pay attention. If you're new to VSiN, you can sign up for our free daily newsletter. It's awesome. It gives you the betting menu for the day, some free picks in there as well. It's delivered straight to your inbox every morning. VSiN's newsletter offers picks, data, strategies for the day's betting menu. Go to vsin.com/newsletter. It's completely free. Just enter your email address and boom, it's there tomorrow morning. We got you back here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. We say hi. YouTube as well, youtube.com/VSiN Live. You can follow along with the show. Two things. One, it's a tremendous effort by the Miami Heat in a closeout game.
Season on the line.
At the break, the Cleveland Cavaliers lead 72-33.
Okay. The starting lineup for the Miami Heat, 3 players have scored. They have combined for 15 total points in the game. Starting lineup contributing 15 points at halftime. Look, the
72-33.
I understand why the playoffs expanded, and we have 3 good series going on right now, maybe 4 if you want to include the Lakers. But the mismatches we have in some of these rounds, in the early round, it's like we got to do something where we can end some of these earlier. We should not be dragging out the Heat and the Cavaliers.
Best of 5.
Yeah, best of 5 is the move. That's the move. It's just too much. It's too much.
It's interesting what's happening with Tampa Bay and Florida. So hockey, I've been way into it. Florida took a 2-0 series lead in Tampa Bay. We came back over the weekend to Florida, southern Florida, and Florida jumps out to a 1-0 lead. Tampa Bay played amazingly the rest of the way and beat them. Florida, in Game 4 tonight, jumps out to a 1-0 lead, and then Tampa Bay reacts. They're up 2-1. So you're showing some resilience. Obviously, they've got a great goaltender, but that's a resilient team. You like to see it with the Lightning, who I believe we adopted as our Eastern team.
We did. Can we also talk about, speaking of goalies, Hellebuck is broken? I don't know much about hockey, but that guy's allowed – He's allowed 13 goals in 2 games or something like that.
He was the best goaltender in the league, and he's been pulled twice against the Blues, my Blues.
That's crazy. That's crazy. By the way, shout out to Aaron Halterman for going to the Blues game the other day.
Yeah.
Mike Somich, also a Blues fan, and neither of them believed in that team as much as you and I did. So we deserve some credit.
Once a Blue, always a Blue. As I mentioned, we do have breaking news. This is for Mike and the OC and everybody else that was hoping to see the big guy at the Mad Dog Sports Radio get-together at Hennessy's right here in Hermosa Beach. Beautiful town. Dustin's seen it. Gorgeous. He won't be going.
No.
He did receive word that he's not going to be in town.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why I was doing a crossover weekend in L.A., and I was like, all right, I'll be there. Let's do it. Not thinking there's a reason for it. I will be in San Diego with my girlfriend that weekend exploring the city for the first time. I've never been to San Diego. I've always wanted to go. We planned this 3 months ago. So, unfortunately, I will not be going to Hennessy's.
Whose couch will you two be crashing on? Do you have any friends there?
We will be getting a hotel. We will be getting a hotel for that trip. Unfortunately, don't know anyone down there.
Right. That you could just kind of hang out with and just sleep over?
Yeah, I mean, if I did have someone, we would take advantage of it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned your sister, your sister's 2 kids, and your brother-in-law, one kid, coming to Vegas. You've got a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yes.
The kitchen is a setup to do the show.
Yes.
And they're all staying with you and your girlfriend?
Yes, they're all converging and staying with me Thursday into Tuesday.
You've got to be effing kidding me.
Well,
5 days?
They all arrive and leave at different times. My girlfriend comes Thursday, but I think she leaves Sunday or Monday. My sister arrives Friday. She leaves, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. I'm not really good at remembering these things. I should probably write them down when people tell me, but I just don't, because I assume they're going to lay it out later for me because they know I didn't do that.
Well, hold on. You're having your brother-in-law, your sister, and their child in your apartment for 5 days.
Yes.
Friday,
Dude, I don't
Saturday,
even
Sunday,
Monday.
honestly, I don't even have a reaction. Okay, 4 days, whatever. You're a good man.
I don't understand what the issue is. I like hanging out with my sister. I don't see her that often. I'd rather her stay with me than stay at a hotel. We could take that money and do stuff with it.
Totally. No, it totally sounds fun. Okay, well, let's get back to the sports here. Rockets Warriors coming up at the top. What? What? Are you getting
funny.
yelled at on?
No, I'm not getting yelled at. Not yet. Who knows?
I'm not being funny. I have opinions, and you get bitter about them. I'm just saying. With my sister and brother-in-law and kids come, I can't. I'm sorry. You just can't, they can't stay with me. I'll spend so much time with them. That's insanity.
I literally got a 2-bedroom apartment just so people could stay with me. Like, that was the motivation for it. So that if people don't stay with me, it was pointless.
Right, but then you make them leave when you do the show.
Yeah, that's probably on me. I'll admit that's probably a fault in my strategy here, where they have to be out of the apartment because I do the show in my dining area. That's probably
so
fair.
from 4 to 7 every day, they have to figure out where to go.
Yeah.
So that's why they should get a hotel.
Yeah, no, and in fairness, my niece is 2, and she does have a nap schedule, and she's going to be on East Coast time mentally, so I'm probably not doing my
honestly.
I'm probably making life a lot harder for my sister.
It sounds awesome. And you got a big house, right? No, I'm sorry.
2-bedroom apartment.
Mike might be able to help you out. Mike in Vegas. Hi, Mike.
What's up, Patty? How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, brother?
Nothing. I heard the little dilemma that Dustin's in, so I figured I'd give you guys a quick call. Dustin, you know me. You got my number. I'm in Vegas, brother, and I got comps all over town. You tell me what side of town you want me to put your sister, brother-in-law, and your nephew, and it's done.
I appreciate you, Mike, but here's the thing that isn't being factored into all of this.
Thanks, Mike.
They want to stay with me.
What?
And I have no issue with it.
Your sister. Oh, just to be clear, Mike was going to hook you up with a free hotel, and you'd rather them stay in your place?
If my sister and my family's visiting, I would just rather be around each other, not have to deal with going back and forth to a hotel. We're going to be together all day anyway. I don't see any big deal in being in the same apartment. This is one of those deals. I don't see the big deal. I don't.
Well, then if it's not a big deal, why does it frustrate you so much?
Because you guys think it's a big deal. Because you're telling me I'm wrong.
I'll just be very clear with you. In the end, I don't give a shit. But we are doing 3 hours of content.
Yeah, no, but
and it's good content. So understand what's going on here, big guy.
No, but also understand, I still believe I'm right. Like, I still believe I'm on the right side of history here.
No. Okay. Going back to the parents' house for the first time, you still think you're right on that one too, with your girlfriend?
I think that one I am mostly right on, but okay. I would say the proper move to consider my girlfriend in the whole situation would have been to just get a hotel.
That's all. That's all I'm saying.
However, there's more factors at play than just that.
Pray tell.
I do think it would be good for her to spend more time in the house with my family, not for her, but for my family who wants to get to know her more and be around her more. And I don't want to start the relationship of her and my family off with me getting a hotel and that may be bothering them.
Your parents sound like wonderful people. I've never had the opportunity to meet them. Are they legitimately crazy? Why would that offend them?
No, because they just want us, like, I don't know, whenever family visits.
You do know what a hotel is. It's literally just, you go sleep there, and then you go back to your parents' house.
I know, but like, whenever we've ever had family visit, they just stay with us, whether it's in the bedrooms, there's, 4 extra bedrooms, or on the couches, or there's an extra living room.
Okay.
Like, there's just space.
Okay. But, all right, we've got to get to the basketball game. How is it possible every human, including Naya, a woman, how is it possible they all say the opposite and you're just like, no, you guys are all wrong?
Yeah, I think the thing you're not including is that my family's not normal. I never claimed.
I
it was
didn't
normal.
say
I think
that. I'm saying why would. Okay, we'll come back.
No, I'm
We've
just saying we're not normal, and maybe that's the issue here.
Or maybe you're just the tightest family in the history of families.
I don't know about that.
When we come back, we've got bets on Rockets Warriors. We'll give those before that game tips off. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
With Patrick Meagher
behind scenes, behind closed doors, I don't necessarily know. Was really full of himself and just
And Russ, what did you make of the Hunter? They acquire a first rounder next year. They get another quarterback along with Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel. They get Harold Fannin, the tight end, super productive at Bowling Green. They get 2 running backs. Mason Graham, that seems like a very solid pick. Overall, do you think the Browns did well over the weekend?
I do. I mean, I think the draft for them was one of those where they obviously added competition between the quarterback position because they have 5 quarterbacks. We know one of them's not going to play this year. And the other 2, one is a 40-year-old, quarterback that's been around for quite a while, and the other one is Kenny Pickett. So I think that they needed to add some competition, and there's potential for Shedeur to become the guy there. Obviously, he's got to beat out, like you mentioned, Dylan Gabriel and the other quarterbacks, as I mentioned. But from top to bottom, I like what they did. Mason Graham, Carson Schwessinger, these guys are glue guys for your defense, highly productive, high-motor type players. The running backs, I like Dylan Sampson. I love Quinshon Judkins. I think they're going to complement each other really well. And I think Harold Fannin, the tight end, got a bad rap through the draft process because he didn't run so well laterally. I don't need him to run laterally. I need him to run vertically because that's what he does well. And I think he's going to pair well with David Njoku. So overall, I like what they did with their draft. I would have liked to see them take an offensive lineman somewhere, but obviously they have different plans with that situation, those positions. So we'll see what happens. But overall, good draft, and it allows them to add a bunch of talent where they didn't have any.
Recapping the NFL draft with our buddy Russell Brown. So if you had QB1 as Shedeur, does that mean you think the Titans wildly overreached for Cam Ward? How'd you grade him out?
He wasn't too far behind. I mean, he was my 24th or 25th overall player, my QB2. And I see the potential with Cam Ward. The biggest issue that I had with Cam was simply the fact that I thought he held on to the football way too long and way too often. And I know Shedeur had that same problem, but Shedeur also dealt with a very bad offensive line, no run game. And I felt like Cam obviously had a much better supporting cast outside of, Travis Hunter and those types of things. But they were able to run the football, and they had draftable prospects up front. And the scheme was foot-to-foot splits as the offensive line and let everybody collapse, and then Cam would do what he does best in getting outside of the pocket and expanding plays, which is fine. I just look at that and I wonder, is the processing going to be a little bit behind in the NFL? But at the end of the day, I see the potential, and I get why people may have wanted him to be the number 1 overall pick or why he was somebody's QB1, because the potential is through the roof. And if everything goes together and they're able to make it work, then I think he can certainly become the guy. And I got to give kudos to Tennessee for admitting that they made a mistake with Will Levis. Most teams wait, 2, 3, 4 years down the road before they admit they made a mistake. So they admitted it right away, and they fixed it. So kudos to them.
My New York Giants, Russ, they take Abdul Carter, number 3. They trade back into the first round for Jackson Dart. They add some pieces along the way. I'm curious your thoughts of their draft as a whole, but more importantly, what do you make of the Jackson Dart pick? Did they reach for him in that spot?
No, they did not reach for him in that spot. I think that's exactly right about where he needed to go. I had him as my 34th overall player, another quarterback with a second-round grade for me. I was not very high on these quarterbacks throughout the process, but I like what the Giants did. I think they had one of the better drafts through the process. They built their identity. Abdul Carter, adding in Darius Alexander in the 3rd round. This was a guy that was talked about potentially as a top 50 pick, a potential first-round pick after the Shrine Bowl. So they got Carter. They got Alexander. I love Cam Scatterbo in that offense. He's a fun player. I know he's not overly fast, but the burst and the contact balance and just the no-quit, tough attitude that he has is exactly what the Giants need for somebody running the football, especially with Jackson Dart, a rookie quarterback, who I think at some point this year will get an opportunity to play. I like Marcus Bowe. I can't believe he lasted to the 5th round. I think there's starting guard potential there. So overall, really good draft from top to bottom, and I think Jackson Dart's going to be a guy that if Brian Dable can do what he did with Josh Allen, I think the NFC's got to watch out a little bit.
Russ, we had a caller earlier ask us about the Raiders draft. So why don't you give us your take on how the Raiders did? And kind of controversy on this show. I didn't have a problem with the Genty pick, but we had people come on and say it was ridiculous. What'd you think about the running back so early?
I don't mind it at all. This is a team that was the worst rushing offense in the NFL last year, whether it was yards per carry, yards per game, rushing total yards, you name it. They couldn't run the football to save their life. I think they got the best back in the class, and Genty gives them an identity. Whether Geno Smith, you want to label him as good, bad, and different, you need somebody to be able to run behind him. You saw the success he had in Seattle. What was the nucleus? They could run the football. Sure, he had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but having players like Kenneth Walker was a big thing to help him, and I think Genty can do the same. I love the receiver they took in the second round from TCU. He can flat out play. He works back to the quarterback all of the time. He's a bigger body receiver, whereas Jacoby Myers is not. He's more of that slot receiver. I think they complement each other really well. I love the additions of Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant. I think Grant's got some tackle guard flexibility. Rogers played tackle, but I think he's more of a guard. And then you look at like Cam Miller in the 6th round. I think that's a fine pick as a developmental quarterback. He had a really good pre-draft process at the Shrine Bowl, and I think he's a good guy to have behind Geno Smith in case something were to happen. So I think they added depth on both sides of the trenches. They got some playmakers at receiver with Fetch and Dante Thornton, a bigger body receiver as well. So I think from top to bottom, a good draft, and obviously the key is Ashton Genty, and I think he's the guy that can be a featured back, number one for sure in this league.
I'm not going to lead the witness here. I'm going to leave this a bit open-ended. Is there one team that jumps out to you when I say you're watching them make their picks and you're thinking, oh no, what are you doing? Is there one team that you think just was like out of their mind over the weekend with their picks?
I mean, Atlanta.
That's the one.
Kind of feels that way just simply because of the James Pierce move. You get Jalen Walker. I love that. I can't fault them for taking him. And there's potential with James Pierce, but you traded away a first-round pick. That's just a little bit of a head-scratcher to me, and you gave that to an in-conference team that's going to probably use both draft picks next year to get a quarterback. And James Pierce with the off-the-field stuff, it's just there's a lot there. The two safeties, it's interesting. I think they fit, and I think they're going to correlate each other really well, but just kind of a little bit of a different draft, especially for a team that had really no draft capital, trading away capital. I didn't really get that. And then, the other one will be Green Bay. I think Matthew Golden in the first is a little bit of a reach. They then kind of doubled down at the position with Savion Williams in the 3rd round. I thought Anthony Belton in the 2nd round was a bit of a reach as well. He was more of like a 4th round pick for me. I just really from top to bottom, I really thought they were kind of just grasping here and really trying to figure out what they wanted to do. And I don't know if they really have a set plan on what they're going to do with some of these players they drafted.
Russ, the big news early was what the Jacksonville Jaguars gave up to move up to grab Travis Hunter. What'd you think about that, and what'd you think about the Jags' overall draft?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to give up for a first-year GM and a first-year head coach. You're trying to build something, and I think, yes, you got to go out and do everything you can to go get Travis Hunter. I completely understand that. This is a generational player, so I think it'll end up working out for them. But then to double down in the 3rd round, take another corner. I know Travis Hunter's probably going to play more so of the offensive side of the football, but I still like him as a corner. And I just wonder, are they really setting him up for success, just letting him play wide receiver? We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong there. But I look at what they're doing, and I'm not really sure. Jack Kaiser, Jalen McLeod, giving up the whole thing from top to bottom. They needed a lot of pieces, but they now are taking away future assets, and I don't think they had a great draft as far as talent. I think some of these guys are just guys. So, Travis Hunter can be the guy, but, the capital down the road I think is going to maybe hurt this rebuild a little bit more than they think.
I'm not sure many people projected Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan, to go ahead of Tyler Warren. He does go to the Bears. Feels like a good spot for him. What'd you think of that pick, and what else Ben Johnson was able to do in his first draft of that team?
It's an interesting draft, right? I mean, I don't know if anybody would have really thought about it twice if Loveland went in front of Warren. I think that kind of was split somewhat in at least the draft community and in that type of stuff, but I think across the league, depending on who you talk to, I think they can see the vision with Colston Loveland. So I think there was an understanding if he went before Tyler Warren, it makes sense. And this is probably the most ideal landing spot for him because of how we've seen Ben Johnson using Sam Laporta and other tight ends in his offense. But staying with Ben Johnson's offense, I like that he got Luther Burden. I'm rooting for him at the next level. I think he got bad rap. As a draft prospect, his burst and body control after the catch is insane, and he's one of those guys that may not be able to run the full route tree as pure as a Justin Jefferson, but this is a guy that can play in the slot, play outside, and the run after the catch stuff is dangerous. Shamar Turner in the second round is a great pick for them. He is very versatile, very violent. He's got to keep his head on right at times during games, right? But this is a guy that I think can play. Now, the other picks I think are a little bit of developmental players, right? Ozzie Trapullo, is he going to be able to play left tackle or right tackle? There's a thought he might be able to play left tackle. I like him best on the right side, and at times I think he's more of a swing tackle. So we'll see. If he works out, it might work out for him. But it was a good draft, but it was one of those drafts where, if Loveland and Burden hit, it's a great draft. But if they don't, it's going to be one of those where we're like, this is one of those risky ones for a first-year head coach.
Does a team jump out as your favorite draft class this year? They just did an immaculate job. Does one team jump out?
I think San Francisco. I mean, you just look at it. It's one of those where you might be able to look in 2-3 years and say, wow, and even this upcoming season, that you can look at it and be like, this is a really good draft. Michael Williams is a run-setting defensive end. Alfred Collins has the pass rush skills. He's got to get, I think, a little bit stronger, and he's got to become a little bit more consistent with just how to use his hands, but it's all there. He has all of the tools. Nick Martin in the third just feels like a classic, good 6-7 year pro in San Francisco. Upton Stout and C.J. West are going to compete. I had this thought during the draft process. Jordan Watkins on day 3 or Matthew Golden on the first day of the draft. I think both players play the game in a similar sense, and I think Jordan Watkins can be a really good player for them. And Curtis Rourke, I mean, the 7th round pick, a quarterback, you just got to think at 6'4", 220 pounds, if something were to happen to Brock Purdy, Curtis Rourke, it just feels like he could step in and play for them in that system. So I like what they did from top to bottom, and I think this is one of those drafts where they got better on the defensive side of the football. You can tell with 5 picks, and then they've added some pieces on the offense, and it's there for them to be really good. And with that coaching staff and the already made players that they have, I think it can really become something.
Look, I know you're a big Sparty guy. I'm going to need you to maybe say some nice things about a player from Ann Arbor. How shocked were you about Will Johnson? I know there were some injury concerns. Falls to the 2nd round. Arizona takes a shot on him. They took Walter Nolan in the 1st round. On the surface, I'm seeing what looks like a pretty good draft from the Cardinals. But first, what do you think about Johnson, the addition there in Arizona?
It was a pretty good draft, and I think that's a fine spot to take him. He was my 9th overall player. It could end up becoming a steal for him and for them. I mean, he might be able to outplay that draft value and draft spot really, really easily. But the biggest thing with him is just obviously the injuries, and it all piled up on him, whether it was the hamstring injury during his pro day, the shoulder injury, the turf toe. This is a player that has been banged up for the last 18 to 20 months, and if he can get right, we saw what he can do. The ball skills are so impressive, and he can play off-man, he can play zone, and he's even got some press man ability just because of his size. But the recovery speed is going to get tested. He only ran the 40 in 4.57 seconds, so he's not going to always recover. But I like Will Johnson, the player. I just don't know if Will Johnson can stay healthy, and if so, does he really like football? There's a lot of question marks surrounding his love of the game. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But Nolan, Johnson, I love Jordan Birch. He was a top 50 player for me. They revamped their defense, and they needed to. They had to get some young players, and a lot of it, I think, is going to be riding on Will Johnson. So we'll see what happens. But it was a good draft for them, and they needed to focus on what they were good at, and that's building a defense with Jonathan Gannon.
Russ and Brad, we trust. How'd our Lions do this year?
I like what they did. I think they're getting a bad rap a little bit for how they drafted with, repetitive type players at the guard position, maybe quote unquote reaching for a wide receiver. But I think you look at Tyleik Williams, he's plug and play. Ali McNeil's not going to be ready potentially until maybe Thanksgiving. So we'll see. DJ Reader has had the injury history, and he's a free agent after the season. And you add a 335-pound defensive tackle. I don't think you can get mad at that. Tate Ratledge and Miles Frazier, these guys are going to be really competitive on the interior. I think one of them might get a shot to play in year one. And I would keep tabs on Miles Frazier as a potential center. And as I mentioned with Isaac Tesla, they might have reached there, but I think he's the type of player that they've been looking for at 6'4", 215. He can run, big catch radius, and he's a guy that is going to play on special teams. He can block. And the same thing with Dan Jackson, the safety out of Georgia. He's going to have a bigger role than I think people think. He's going to buzz down all of the time. He's going to play near the box, close to the line of scrimmage. He can run the alley, and, of course, he brings special teams. They got tough, just good football players, and it might be a C- grade to the draft graders out there, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to be one of those drafts that is talking about core guys.
Pretty much every year, the same statement is said. The Ravens were successful on draft weekend, Russ. I know who the first 3 players they took are. They drafted 11 guys over the weekend. My assumption is they're all going to be Pro Bowlers, even though they're all drafted late because Baltimore selected them. Why are the Ravens so good at this, and what do you think of what they did?
I love what they did. They got one of my favorite players in Malachi Starks. I think Emory Jones can be a plug-and-play guard for them in the 3rd round. Mike Green, obviously, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, this was a really good draft from top to bottom with how it all played out. I think LaJohntay Wester can be an actual weapon for this offense to a degree because of how fast he is. He's a little bit undersized and a little bit, lighter player, but he's going to be able to return punts and he can fly. So we'll see what he does and exactly what his role is. But you get him manufactured touchers, I think good things can happen. Robert Longer being the corner out of Rutgers, some really good ball skills there. He had a good pre-draft process. He's got the speed. He can play press man. He fits what they're doing, and it's just one of those teams that they are so well built from top to bottom with their coaching staff, with the organization structure, the players, the coaches, and they just know how to draft and develop. And this is one of those drafts that it feels like when we're looking at the Ravens in the AFC Championship down the road, they're going to be a team that has these key players that we're talking about.
All right, Russ, great to catch up with you, man. Hope you're doing well. You and the fam, betting pros and fantasy pros, NFL draft analyst, the Lions Wire writer, and the podcast, Lions Podcast, DetroitLionsPodcast.com, at Russ NFL Draft. Thank you, Russell. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, guys. We'll talk to you.
Okay, talk to you soon. We've got some calls I want to get to with some of our friends here. We have Brandon Bean sound. We can play reacting to radio host not liking his draft. Yeah, I want to hear that.
He gets testy. I kind of respect him for it. It's a pretty good clip.
Did you were supportive of that donk down in Jacksonville, the way he was talking, right?
Oh, I bought in. I'm impressionable. I'm not like you. I can be convinced if I have one belief in the moment, I can be convinced otherwise. I kind of dug James Gladstone and his vibe.
He got roasted online, didn't he?
People were just like, "Hey, man, maybe lay off the mushrooms."
Yeah, I thought it was that was wild to me. I mean, I like different thinkers. It was a little too intense.
Did you see the sit down with Travis Hunter where he's like, look, we want you to be your own person type stuff, which I think that's the new age way of approaching things. And I think if you're involved in the conversation, you feel differently than if you're watching it from the outside. I will admit, watching it on the outside feels weird.
By the way, do I have to ask you again for the Bean thing, or do you want to play it?
Oh, you want to play it? I didn't know if you want to play it next segment.
No, it's all good.
Okay, so Nia, let's play that Brandon Bean audio I sent in. He was on WGR, I believe that's 550 up there in Buffalo. He was hanging on hold before they got to him, and he happened to hear them criticizing them not selecting wide receivers, and this was Brandon Bean coming out hot out of the gate.
Well, you guys were bitching in 2018 about Josh Allen. You guys wanted Josh Rosen, and now you guys are bitching that we don't have a receiver. I don't get it. We just hold on, let me talk. We just scored 30 points in a row for 8 straight games. A year ago, I get you guys asking why we didn't have receivers, but I don't understand it now. You just saw us lead the league in points when you add all the postseason. No one scored more points than the Buffalo Bills, including the Super Bowl champions. So you just saw us do it without Stephon Diggs, same group. How is this group not better than last year's group? Our job is to score points and win games. Where do we need to get better? Defense. We did that. So I get it. You got to have a show and you got to have something to bitch about. But bitching about wide receiver is one of the dumbest arguments I've heard.
That's a great clip.
It's bitter. A great clip.
He's so bitter.
But it kind of goes along with the whole, guys running these teams, they hear the noise and they believe in what they're doing. They think they're right, but everyone else also thinks that they know how to run a franchise. I'd say their draft, they went heavy SEC. Kentucky corner, South Carolina D tackle, Arkansas edge, Kentucky D tackle. Like, that's the first 4 picks right there. So they're sending a message that the defense needs to improve. So that's what they're. Also, I think their receivers are fine. Shakir was very good. Keon Coleman, when he was healthy, it'll be year 2. I think he'll be better. I don't think the receivers were horrible. Mac Hollins made some plays for them. I actually agree with Brandon Beat.
My man was salty.
Spicy.
he was so salty at those. And those dummies were they were probably so uncomfortable. They're like, dude, I didn't know he was on hold. Like, yeah, but I guess people should know, for the most part, I don't know if with our remote setup, when you put somebody on hold, they can obviously hear the program. Like, I think when people call into Mad Dog Sports Radio, if you're on hold, you hear the program, correct?
Yeah, no, they hear the program. They don't hear the break, but they hear the programming. If they heard the break, I wouldn't have a job anymore. But that's the VSiN Plus subscription.
Yeah, that's something else. Well, I'll keep that to myself. I was going to say something. Let's say hi to our buddy Tony in Detroit. What up, Tone?
Oh, okay. First of all, how much is the VSiN Plus? Because I'm paying. I want
it's spicy.
I want to hear you two chopping it up on it. Let no one listen.
It gets interesting.
No,
I'll say that.
It's mostly me not being the bitch that I can be on the air sometimes. and then the show comes on and I dial it back.
I just want to hear Patrick after Mike and OC calls and asks if he's going up to the bar. What he says when nobody's listening.
Oh, yeah. You should pay for the plus. It's pretty good.
I would definitely pay premium.
There you go.
Hey, you were just on that Buffalo coach or GM or whatever. It's funny, here in Detroit, it's the same thing. Like, the local rate, Brad Holmes has done nothing, but you know what's funny? All they bring up is Hendon Hooker. He missed on Hendon Hooker, but he's drafted. Patrick, I'm not joking. The local media here, I think they forget that Hutchinson played 5 games because they act like they have 0 defensive ends, and the draft is constantly criticized. And it's like when they drafted Gibbs, nobody liked it. When they drafted J-Mo, nobody liked it. Jack Campbell, nobody liked it. Laporta, nobody liked it. But it's like, and Brad just keeps drafting the way he wants to draft. And now the same thing this year. I mean, we'll see what happens. These drafts are, grade them in 3 years. You really should do. It's tough, You don't really know what's going on. But it is just, I don't know. Our local affiliates here are pretty ridiculous. Speaking of the hockey tonight, I'm sweating this Florida game. They just took a goal away from the Panthers.
Yeah, why'd they take that top shelf goal away? I turned away and I missed why they took it away.
They reviewed, and from what I was on hold, but I was reading on this. I guess they ruled offsides. They went back and looked, and it was offsides. So they, I've been actually doing pretty well with hockey. NBA, I don't know how anyone's betting these games. Teams are winning by 50. I mean, it's unless it's our Pistons. So we got tomorrow night. It's going to be tough in the Garden. Hey, I need to get it back, Patrick. We need to get back to the Motor City. I'm going to be downtown Thursday night. My son is graduating, walking for Wayne State. I want the Pistons to be home, so I can be down there and feel that atmosphere, man. We need some Pistons.
Wow,
that's baby.
Your son's time flies. We've been talking to Tony for a long time. Your son's about to graduate college?
I have 2. My older son's graduating. My younger son's a sophomore in college. My older son he is actually done. He's graduated, and walking on Thursday. But yeah, we've been
congratulations.
Older son, didn't he play like JUCO football or something his first year or something like that?
Oh, my younger son is playing Division III football still. He plays out in Kalamazoo. So, yeah, my younger son's still playing football. He's got 2 more years. So, but
and Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but you and I are the same age, right? 47?
I turned 48 yesterday, gentlemen.
Oh, happy birthday!
Hey, feeling good. Feeling good. Hey, 48 is what it is. I've seen a lot, done a lot, But, hey, listen, you guys get me through it in the evenings, man. I just love – and I've told you guys before, I love when you're chopping it up about the bathrooms and Dustin staying with his parents. obviously I love the gambling aspect, but when you guys are just cutting it up, man, it's the most entertaining show on this channel, and I'm still so happy you guys are back, man. It makes my weeknight.
No, that's
the
kind,
greatest,
Tony, man. You're the best, bro. And congratulations. It is funny, divergent lives. He's got 2 kids, one kid graduating college, another one in college, and I have a dog.
Yeah, but you kind of raised me too, if we're being fair. You kind of raised me.
That's true. The big guy the other day, he said something. He said, Tony, like this. He gets real. Anyway, he gets pushed around a lot. And so he said to me, yeah, I'm putting my foot down. I'm not being a bitch anymore. I can't remember what that was about.
I said, I booked a guest. You did not want to talk to that guest. When I told you, I heard it in your voice.
That guest is a donk.
And the reason I was booking the guest was I thought it makes us look good. Like the bosses would perceive that I did something good. And then I canceled it because I said, you know what? That was a bitch move. That was me thinking about how other people think about what we're doing. Instead, we should just do what we believe is right for the show, and good things will happen. So I adjusted with the guest.
Yeah, that was a good. I know it sounds crazy, but I do care about the content, and I know, trust me, I know I'm on your team with, like, sometimes you got to play the political stuff, but that's just not great content.
No, so I have a tendency to overthink things. I think that's an understatement.
No
in that
way.
spot. In that spot, I overthought. You know who didn't overthink things? The Miami Heat. They're losing 119-68 with 10.5 to go in a playoff game.
Yes.
Literally, their G League roster is on the floor right now.
From one friend to another, my man Twizzy, Los Angeles. What up, Twiz?
Man, what's going on, Patrick? Man, how you feeling today?
What's happening?
Oh, nothing much, man. You know I have to get in here, talk to you a little bit, man. And you know what? I want to hit Shedeur and the Lakers real quick. And on the Shedeur thing, I know you hate to hear stuff like racism and collusion. And me and you've been talking long enough. You were one of the only guys that were defensive of Lamar Jackson and saying he was going to be a superstar. Like, you were unwavering about it, without question. I know where you stand on it. But, you know, NFL has nobody to blame but themselves for this type of stuff. And I'm not saying that that's what's going on here, but, you know, when you have a need for the Rooney Rule, when you have Kaepernick winning his collusion, you know, people that aren't in the know will lean on some of those easy things.
That's a good point.
That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening here. You know, I mean, even the history of the black quarterback. You know, they wanted to make Warren Moon a DB at one point. So,
Warren Moon was so good, it's insane. That's insane.
So that's just kind of where that is, and hopefully hey, look, he's got a chance now. It doesn't really matter where you're drafted.
Yeah, I'm pulling for him. Like, this isn't. Don't you think it's a great opportunity for him?
Hey, but you know what? Hopefully he doesn't want to be a pop culture star more than he wants to be a football player, because that party that seems like, hey, I made it party, and not it's a whole lot of work to do party.
Good point. What about your Lakers, man? That was rough yesterday.
Look, you know what? As a franchise, I'm gonna give them a pass just for the simple fact that we have a glaring hole that they really tried to fill with an all-star potential type guy, you know, and that had got rescinded, and there was nothing they can do, because after the trade, you know, it happened after the trade deadline. But as far as the game itself, oh my God, what I was upset with LeBron taking that 3-pointer when we were up 54 seconds, up 2 points. I'm like, man, if you get to the hole, you know, get fouled, you know, get somebody else to line, get 2, even if make one, miss one, you're up 3, up 4, you know, that's a lot of pressure on them. And it's just so many things in that game. But, hey, JJ, I guess he felt like he had to do with a short bench, and it affected him. But you can't go far with a 40-year-old guy being one of your top 2 guys, plain and simple. We got to do something about that. Having LeBron at 40 years old, yeah, it's great. It's time to give him his flowers, let him go, because he's done his job, and his how the Game of Thrones go, your watch is over.
Did you hear I'm all in on him now? He had like a hustle block, Twiz, and I was like, I've been so hard on the guy for like 20 years, but I just liked how I hated the 3-point shot, but I do appreciate he plays his ass off.
He does, and I appreciate that and everything else. but he's got like $50 million, and we can use that money wisely.
Hey, you know what? Maybe I should chill out. 50 minutes. Nice to talk to you, Twiz. 50 million. You should be trying.
Yeah,
Twizzy's out on LeBron.
Well, there was weird stuff down the stretch. That inbound play was unacceptable. Like, that was just the way that went down.
Yeah,
he was able to turn them over.
Yeah, I get it.
But you look at the rest of the game, though. Like, we get caught up in the crunch time, and I know it's when the game's decided in a close game like that, but they're also only in that position because LeBron was spectacular all afternoon long.
Yeah. No, that's true. What made you decide, like, what gave you the change of heart about being more, like, assertive?
Because you were cool about it. I knew you were going to do something that you didn't. I'll always go back to this. Is always my go-to example. When you go on a date and the check comes, the woman is supposed to offer to pay or split. You're never supposed to accept it, but you judge the character based on the fact that she offered. You, in that moment, when I knew I was telling you we were going to do something that you didn't want to do, you went, oh, okay. And I heard it. I heard like the twitch in your voice, and I was like, I'm making him do something that he doesn't want to do, and it's not for the betterment of the content of the show. It's me thinking about how we're perceived and how that will help us down the road. And that's not how we should make decisions. We should just do what we think is right for the show.
That's tremendous. Here's the thing. People think I'm definitely a dick to you on the air, but I'm not off the air.
No, you're like,
I think that would surprise some people because I could be
No. You're my second therapist. Like, you're the backup therapist. I see Robin on Wednesdays, and unfortunately you get me twice a day, because we have a call before the show and then 3 hours on the air where we work stuff out together. So I would say quite the opposite. Now, are you a dick? Yeah, sometimes. Do you need to be a dick to me sometimes? Yeah, that's true too.
For sure on the air. No, I'm a total asshole. Florida just tied it up at 2-2.
I'm not going to talk you down from that.
I'm just being straight up. Like, but this is the only 3 hours of the day where I act like that because that's what I have to do. The rest of the time, I don't really even talk to anybody.
I would admit, though, I don't make it easy for you. Like, I don't say things where it's easy for you to just be like, yeah, man, that's a cool thing that you just said. I kind of make it where you have to react that way.
The only thing I get mad at you about, the one thing I get mad at about you off the air is I just don't like when you let people take advantage of you.
Yes.
that drives me insane.
I do love when...
Go ahead.
It's a telegraph joke, but I do love when my girlfriend takes advantage of me.
888-623-3646. We continue with your calls. Got those games, a puck drop, and a tip at the top of the hour. We'll get to the plays on those as well. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN, Tony's going to be happy. The Florida Panthers just scored 3 goals in 2 minutes, 7 seconds. They were down 2-1. Now they're covering the puck line, 4-2, with 1:37 to go. This is a traumatic loss for the Lightning, who outplayed, in my opinion, the Panthers for most of this game.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Florida down the stretch, limping into the postseason, not as explosive as they'd been. Tough matchup with Tampa, and now they're about to go up 3-1?
Yeah, I'm shocked. Florida was playing. Now, Florida was banged up, but Florida was playing the worst hockey in the NHL coming in. And, wow, they just flipped the script. They're going to take a 3-1 series lead. And they cut, like, for those, puck line, by the way, you lay a puck in half, so you got to win by 2 or more. And they covered that. So, yeah, the boys are talking about it in the chat as well. Another controversial situation was the end of the Pistons game where Josh Hart, now the NBA, the officials came out and said the refs were incorrect. Josh Hart did foul Tim Hardaway Jr. on his game-winning attempt. More than it was so obvious in real. I mean, that was just he literally bodied him on a 3-point shot.
Yeah, look, the problem that I would have with the call there, and I am a letter of the law guy, and I am a Knicks fan, so I am super biased here. It did feel the whole game they were letting them play super physical, and that benefited Detroit. So it was playing to their advantage the whole game that they weren't just calling every little play. There was a play with like 2 minutes to go where Brunson went to the rack and he clearly got hacked, hit the shot, should have been an and one situation. They didn't call it. That spot, I also think they held it against in the moment, Tim Hardaway Jr., because he kind of leaned in hoping for the contact, and the contact ended up being light.
That's a good basketball play. If they're going to call those, which they do.
You're right. You're right. No, it's a foul. There's no doubt it's a foul. It just, because the way the game was going the way it did all day long, the fact that they didn't call it didn't shock me, but in the moment, I thought a whistle was coming. Bickerstaff lost his mind. He ran on the floor. He was ready to fight people.
Well, let's hear from you can go ahead and set this up. We got the Pistons head coach.
Yeah, here's JB Bickerstaff discussing the no call at the end of the game.
Again, you go back and look at the film. The guy leaves his feet. There's contact on Tim Hardaway's jump shot. I don't know any other way around it. There's contact on his jump shot. The guy leaves his feet. He's at Timmy's mercy. And I repeat, there's contact on his jump shot.
Yeah, I mean, can he get fined for criticizing the refs when the refs came out and said that they botched it?
Yeah, he also added on to that, saying something along the lines of like that they call fouls on some people, but not others, kind of insinuating the refs were on one side. We saw this a year ago, remember, with Rick Carlisle? And then the next game, the Pacers got a favorable whistle. I'd imagine, even though we're going to Madison Square Garden, there is a chance, because that's hanging over the series, that the Pistons may get a favorable whistle. But, I mean, it's a lot for them to overcome at this point because it was such a pivotal game. They had a chance to win that game at home, send it back to MSG tied. Instead, now the Knicks have command of the series. That one call changes everything because they're down 1. He's shooting a 3. He's just got to make 2 of them, and they walk away with a victory.
It's over, brother. It's been a great run. And it's not even, listen, it's not even, I'm bummed out, but it's been such a just amazingly they underachieved last year, the Pistons, but they've been so great this year. They're young. It's been a great year.
Look, I may be talking out of the wrong end here, but there's something beautiful happening where the Pistons are going to get eliminated. The Bucks are going to get eliminated. The Bucks are in disarray. The roster construction around Giannis just hasn't worked. It's time for him to ask out. There's a lot of teams out there that Giannis should think about joining. Houston's one of them. Houston has the assets to do it. I'm curious if Detroit, that has their next 2 first-rounders, obviously you can only trade one of them, and then they don't have first-rounders till later, but they have young assets. Could the Pistons put together Thompson and Durant and a couple other pieces? Could they make a solid offer to acquire Giannis here?
No, because you'd have to give up Cade, and they're not going to do
Well,
that.
I would say you could have everyone on the roster other than Cade.
Yeah, but Milwaukee would say we need Cade.
I know. And then Nets have a million picks. Houston has a million players they could trade. I just think Detroit's the team that if I was a superstar, I would want to play next to Cade Cunningham because he can make himself look good. Like, he could always call his own number, but he's also a dude who sets other people up, and the focus on him gets you good looks. Like, if you're a superstar, Detroit should be a team you want to go to.
No, Cade's a kid. He is spectacular, but I will say this, and I'm not saying something hyperbolic. As far as small guards go, Jalen Brunson's one of the greatest in the history of the league.
How about this? Is there another player you want with the basketball with a minute to go in the game?
No,
to make
my
something
favorite.
happen?
He's my favorite player.
And Schroeder's defending him tight somehow, and he knows it's coming. Brunson gets him on his hip where Schroeder's too far on one side of the rim, and Brunson with that lefty layup can just go up with it untouched. And he just does it to him over and over again, and there's really no way to beat it.
He's incredible. The way he uses his body, the angles he gets, everything.
He hits in the final 2 minutes, he doesn't miss. That's what it feels like. He always hits a big shot.
Yeah, he's got big nuts. Sorry, I'm just betting. We're betting we're betting on the Avs. Catch him a price in Dallas. The Avs are better.
Wait, no, catching a price. They're laying 142.
Why did the boys say that they were catching?
Because they're betting the puck line at plus 180.
Not betting the puck line on the road. Are they insane?
But that's what they do. They go big.
You know what? They need to chill out with the puck line. Because I don't want to bet it. So stop sending it to me.
No, but you know what it is? When I don't bet it with them, it cashes. When I decide to join them in it, we get smoked.
Yeah, they need to chill. That's all I'm telling you. And we're talking about Aaron Halterman and Mike Somich. Part of the family here, but they have zero chill with laying puck and a half. And don't do it in baseball either. I'm done with that.
No. I bet you better love the matchup. By the way, if you're going to do it, though, in baseball, I would say do it against the Rockies. Do you know what the Rockies' record is right now?
What's that?
They've played 27 games. How many wins do you think they have?
27? 7?
They have 4.
Good team.
They're 4-23. I think we've reached a point where baseball is just not working out in Denver. Let's move them to another city.
Well, you're getting rid of the franchise?
It's just not going to work. It's never going to work. It's too hard to pitch there. It's freezing cold for the first couple months, and the roster stinks. They made 2 World Series, and they were shockers to make both of them. I think it's time we think about other cities for the Colorado Rockies. That's all. Tampa, move the Rays, move the Marlins. We're moving the A's. Just move the Rockies. Not the Mountains, the team.
About to drop the puck. Here. I just laid the buck 42 with Colorado.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're in-game betting this, wait for it's closing 6 on the total. Wait a couple of minutes. Pray they don't score.
Yeah.
It drops to 5.5 and bet the over if you're in-game.
And if you're looking to in-game bet the NBA game going on right now, you can get plus 57.5 on the Miami Heat, who are down 135-76.
It's insanity. It's legit insanity. We'll come back, close out with your calls, and we'll close tabs. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
4 minutes.
It's time to wrap up today's show. You see what I did there? Yeah. By finishing all of the conversations we touched on today. This is Closing Tabs.
Okay, so remember how I said strategy-wise in-game with the Colorado Avalanche and Dallas Stars, it closed 6. I was like, just give it a couple minutes, wait for that total to drop down to 5.5 and hit the over. You didn't have a couple minutes because the Dallas Stars scored in 9 seconds.
A little premature.
On the softest goal you're ever going to see, but they scored 9 seconds into the game. So, yeah, you're not going to get 5.5. Moral of the story.
And 9 seconds in, you don't have to ask if she finished.
What's that?
Huh?
888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. Dustin Swedelson, of course. That was not me talking. I'm Patrick Meagher. It's time to close tabs. What do you got?
Okay. A couple plays on the late game, Warriors and the Rockets. We're going to go rebounds and assists on 2 players. Fred VanVleet, over 7.5 rebounds and assists combined, and Alperen Sengun over 15.5 rebounds and assists combined. That big lineup of Adams and Sengun, that has been the best part of their offensive game when they have those 2 on the floor. It's a mismatch for Golden State. That's where we're going to go there.
Yeah,
now
make it simple with that one. I'm laying the 4. Butler back, not on a pitch count. Let's go.
You can get 3.5 now, by the way. 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 as well out there.
Okay, this is not a political statement, but there was a theme on the show for a while, Patrick, where you wanted to move to South America. And
Correct.
I did see a bunch of stories. Now, I don't open the stories. Everything I know about what's happening in the world is based off headlines on Yahoo News. They do a great job of just kind of giving you enough information to be moderately informed. And I did see that we are sending illegal immigrants to countries like El Salvador. Do you think maybe you could volunteer for this and get your trip for free?
Yeah, I mean, look, Brazil, El Salvador is on the list. Brazil is definitely on the list. It's back, baby. Wanted to go there. I just don't want to get murdered.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of positives. There's a couple big positives, but that is a very large negative as well. You might get killed. You might wake up.
Yeah,
murdered.
I don't want to get mixed up with the drug cartel. I mean, I would if I'm on the good side. I'll go illegal. I don't care.
You'd be good at it. I do think you'd be good at it.
Be good at selling drugs?
No, like
getting
the bad guys to like you.
Yeah, I mean, I can be charming at times. I'll just look. They probably need a ride or die white guy.
It's true.
And I'm that guy.
You could handle things that they're gonna get looked at twice if they try to do. You could do that for them. You could be that guy.
Yeah, if my contract negotiations don't go well, I'm thinking drug cartel. Let's go.
Good option. Hey, they make a lot of money. Shedeur Sanders was the story today, and I also think Shedeur Sanders the story of the draft, and I think there's a conspiracy. I think Roger Goodell told everyone not to draft him so more people would watch the draft because the second night of the draft attracted 7.3 million viewers. That's 40% more than last year's day 2 coverage, and it's only lower than 2020 where that draft everyone was watching because there was nothing else to do.
Oh, that was COVID. Yeah, no, that's a reason I believe the edict was given by the Haslam family in the Browns to draft him because you can make a ton of cash off Shedeur.
Yes. We had a caller, Chris, call in and say basically LeBron James was Karl Malone. There's a lot of differences between LeBron James and Karl Malone. The big one for me is that one of them's allowed within 100 yards of a school. Karl Malone is not.
What'd he do?
Oh. I don't even think it's like... I may be in Reddit conspiracy, but I believe it's legit. I believe he impregnated like a 16-year-old.
Okay. Maybe I had heard.
Allegedly. I have to say allegedly.
That's so alleged. It's insanely alleged.
But I think it's like mainstream. You want to feel old? Speaking of age.
I do.
Tyler Shuck, drafted by the Saints, is the last person drafted by the NFL born in the 1990s. September 28th, 1999. Going forward, every player drafted will be born in the year 2000 or later.
Ryan just backed up your Malone. But, again, it's alleged.
Alleged on Wikipedia and Reddit. Those are my
best
sources.
thing about saying alleged is you could say anything, and then you just say it's alleged. Allegedly. It's rules. It's such a cop-out. You should try that in your relationship.
do.
Naya, thank you. Ryan Smith, thank you. Good job by the big guy. All right, get out of that doghouse. We'll see you tomorrow. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.